Formerly the chief researcher at the wing, this sinner possesses higher intelligence compared to most others. We estimate that everyday conversation with this sinner will prove difficult for managers selected by our current screening process. Avoiding communication altogether will pose a risk on its own, however. If the sinner remains silent for a long time, this means he is currently processing a line of deliberate thought. We recommend waiting patiently for him. Broken wings like the wings from ye songs, the wings that ye song has in ye songs, the wings. We both knew we were gonna do it is the thing, and it was just like, who's gonna pull the trigger first?
Well, it needed to be, because the audio is on your side, so you needed to be synced up with me, which means I should start first, so that then you can...
So that I can sing along to you. Yeah.
And then it'll be synced up.
I think this might actually desync. No, it'll stay relatively synced. I probably
the worse it sounds, the more authentic it is.
Yeah. The authentic experience of singing this thing. This thing that we sing weirdly a lot needs to be bad. That's authenticity, people. People need to get the authentic us on this podcast. That's the whole podcast.
It is the whole podcast.
Including this bump as I put down my cup of juice. You're going to hear both the slurp and the bump as I put it down, and I'm not going to edit either of them out. Are you ready?
Oh boy.
And then... There we go. Authentic podcasting. I put a little bit of extra mustard on it.
Mm-hmm.
Should I do my intro?
It's his song.
What?
From
Limbus
Company.
The podcast
and
intro?
The Wings.
Should I do the...
Fuck. Well, I guess you should do the podcast intro. I'm focused.
Uh-huh. Hello, and welcome to Soulmates, where we talk about all our favorite little wives in all our favorite little households. Though, of course, my wife is the most beautiful of them all. I'm Ivy Fox, and you can find me at Gyeongsung Station at a little tea shop, listening to our sister podcast, Together We'll Shine, an Utna Rewatch podcast, available on your podcast app of choice. If you need to kill some time so you don't get home to your wife before midnight, why not subscribe to Soulmates on YouTube, where you can chat with us and your fellow fans in the comments. And if you're swimming in thoughts on a bench on a hill, you can also find us on any podcast app of your choice, where you can leave us a nice review like a shiny silver coin. Joining me as always, from across the partition that divides our apartment in two, the only one I wish to play with is Ash.
Hi, I'm Ash. You've really taken all the metaphors from me, so I have to really choose carefully which the Wings joke I'm gonna do. You can find me, across the partition, as previously discussed, entertaining various guests, who eat food and speak loudly and make crude jokes, but my husband cannot see them, and they cannot see my husband.
I really don't like the ones that make the crude jokes. Not my favorite.
I understand. However, play meekly like a good boy. And if you see the nameplate that is as small as a train ticket, the smallest in all of the 18 households, that nameplate will read, ko-fi.com/Asherlark. I also run the show's social media, which is kept in various bottles which glimmer, and you can uncork them and sniff at the perfumes as you play in the sunlight. That's it, soul-mates-podcast at tumblr.com. See, I didn't write copy for this.
Me falling over into bed and dropping a 5-1 note into Ash's Ko-Fi. I'm very pleased with you that you picked up on the fact that I'm Yisung and you're the wife. I appreciate that.
Well, yeah, you made it very clear.
Our music, like Mozart to my ears, is by Sueños Electrónicos, and our art, glittering like makeup bottles in the sun, is by Rygarden. This season, in an experience much like coming home from the rain with a deathly fever, we're talking about the characters from Limbus Company by Project Moon, a blend of cute, appealing sinners with exciting RPG brawls. That's the end of my copy.
Great.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Welcome to Yisung's The Wings Book Club.
Did you listen to the last episode? Because if you didn't, you better go right the fuck back there.
Yeah, go listen to a 1-hour,
really nice audiobook
relaxing
with instrumentation.
Audiobook with original music, and then come back and listen to this hypothetically probably 3-hour episode. It's fine.
Yeah,
You're not doing anything important.
You're not doing anything important.
You're not doing anything important.
All you do is go out to get sick and bother me.
All you do is go out, get sick, and bother us, and you can't even finish
sweating
listening.
like a toad under your quilt. You can't conduct research into the matter of Yisung's The Wings.
You can't even finish all your podcast listening before midnight. Come on.
We've left you so much cold rice. And you won't even take the fodder like a puppy or chicken.
Come on, just because the side dishes are miserable? Jesus. So, what's happening
Aspen's
here?
Adeline's Marks Malthus Matros Aspen's Adeline's.
So, what's happening here is that, when I was playing Limbus Company for the first time, Ash was watching and kept teasing me with Yisung's The Wings, being like, when you get to the dungeon, I'm gonna make you read Yisung's The Wings so you understand it.
Yes. So you understand Yisung's The Wings.
And then I read Yisung's The Wings, and it was the most amazing thing I've ever read. It completely changed my life. There was a period of time where I was like, I'm going to read the Yisung's The Wings every single day. I only managed this for 10 days, but I think that's still pretty impressive.
It was. One point, you were doing a very difficult boss, and I read it to you the entire time.
Oh yeah, also, we had a whole thing where, right, I was fighting fucking Captain Ahab, or I was fighting Pigquad Trio, and it was really hard, and I needed to focus.
You were so frustrated.
And I was like, Ash, can you just read me Yisung's The Wings?
And I did.
And you did. And then we finished, not at the end of the story. So we just kind of sat there and let you finish the story before we kept playing. Anyway, so Yisung's The Wings. So Yisung, the 1930s Korean poet, is, really good. I've been reading his extended works. Woo, wow, I'm fucking wound up. I've been reading his extended works all afternoon, and he's very good. He's very funny. He's very strange. I really like the ones where he he keeps trying to get the him in the mirror to kill himself, but the him in the mirror is like, no, you have to kill yourself first. And then he's like,
then
okay,
I'll die because I'm in the mirror.
Yeah. And then Yisung's like, so he puts on half a bulletproof vest and shoots the him in the mirror where there's no bulletproofing, before remembering that his organs are switched, and so he didn't actually shoot him in the heart. It's kind of insane. I love this man. Yisung, great, weird guy.
He was one of the original modernists. He has a bunch of fantastic modernist work. If you are familiar with James Joyce, then you'll enjoy Yi Song. He's very strange. He died of tuberculosis when he was 28?
6.
20... I think I'm right.
You are incorrect. I have been reading a lot of biographies of Yi Song for my purposes.
Okay, when he was 26.
Almost on his 27th birthday.
There we go. Which is a shame, because he wrote a lot of poems and short stories and shit. That
is a
were
shame, because he's just
very weird.
Good fucking writer.
Yeah. His stuff is not that hard to parse. Ivy can attest to this, having been reading my PDF of Yi Song's selected works today.
Yeah, it's a breezy read.
It's weird. He has some weird stuff, like Meeting Between Pig and Spider is all written with no spaces.
That's not true. It's written with very, very deliberate spacing. Sometimes there are spaces, but a lot of words are just run on words with no spaces between them.
Yes. And so it's like, it's weird. But it's, thematically, I think, like, Ivy thinks the Wings is the funniest thing ever written, which is true. It's very funny. It's very droll. It's also, like, when I first read it, I had a reaction to it, like, massively. It's a very, sort of strangely affecting text. It just sort of is, like, you just sort of don't know what you're getting into when you start reading The Wings, and he's just sort of talking about random shit. I didn't know what I was getting into. And then he just sort of starts describing his strange relationship with his wife, and things sort of slowly deteriorate. And the whole time he's like, I conducted research into this while sitting under my quilts, and it's like,
It's really like a meditation on, like, intellectualizing your emotions so much that you have no idea what's going on, actually. Mm-hmm. Which I think is my great.
Sort of this dissociative trance.
Yeah. And, like, so I did an audiobook of it, which was our last episode in the feed, our last bonus episode. And I did it all in one. I used to do, like, professional voiceover stuff, so I'm decent at this, but I did this all in one take, and doing over an hour of straight reading is very difficult, so my voice got kind of strained at the end, and I was a little self-critical of this, but I am kind of like, that's kind of the story, though. It starts off as this chill, just kind of like, oh, I really didn't like bugs.
I love my wife.
Yeah, I love my wife and hated bugs, and this was fine. And then slowly sort of devolves into this just kind of, like, cornet of madness that ends with him, like, being bitten randomly all over and then staring at goldfish and wondering if he should jump off the roof. Like, This
is, in the public domain. You can read along with the audiobook. There's a couple of other Yi Song short stories that are in the public domain. You can also get a couple of Crow's Eye View poems if you look them up. Not all of them, unfortunately. I went on a long, long search for Crow's Eye View, 1 through 15, and eventually just had to get a book of Yi Song selected works. But you can read these things. This is true of all our Limbus Company episodes. You can always go and read the literature that these guys are based on. They're available.
I'm not sure if you can read Crime and Punishment. Neither of us have done it. Everything else, though, seems achievable.
Hypothetically, you can read Crime and Punishment.
Hypothetical. See, this is probably how I would feel about Dream of the Red Chamber, except we did that.
We did that.
So, like, get reading.
Yi Song and Limbus Company is based on several things. One of them just being the guy. Like, Yi Song, the Korean poet who died of tuberculosis at 26.
Yeah. The League of Nine is a real thing. It was Yi Song's, we're calling it his, it's not his modernist poetry collective.
But it was the one he was in.
It was the one he was in. He was like a second generation member.
All of the people in the League of Nine in Limbus Company are actual, like, real modernist poets. Gubo, from The Life of Gubo the Writer. Dongrang is from The Ox, I believe is the name of it. And even his assistant, Samjo, is from one of Dongrang's works. Dongbek is from the Camellias. Rim is a pseudonym. Most of these are pseudonyms, obviously. But Rim is doesn't appear until Kanto 5, but is Youngji, and is also someone who wrote a in memoriam for Yi Song called The Sea and the Butterfly. All of these actual real members of the Circle of Nine, the Gwinho, and you can go read their works. You can read the Camellias, you can read the Ox, you can read the Mud Hut, you can read The Life of Guba the Writer.
It's also
very
like
cool.
Crow's Eye. I just read this for the first time today because honestly, I was distracted reading The Wings over and over again instead of reading more of his works. Crow's Eye View in particular is an extremely important to Limbus Company set of poems. Basically, every single poem in Crow's Eye View is a thing that has been adapted into a major thing in the game, including like the whole mirror dimension thing.
There's little references to Crow's Eye View in a lot of Yi Song, but there's also just all of Song Yi in Kanto 4 comes from Crow's Eye View, not the Wings. I mean, there's several characters who play the role of Yi Song's wife, Gubo being one of them, Song Yi being one of them, but, Song Yi really primarily comes from the Crow's Eye View poems, which are easy to read as Yi Song being a queer man, talking about his love of men.
But
this is not a joke.
Real,
true facts.
But also, like, from Song Yi, we kind of get, the whole thesis of Limbus Company, which is, like, meeting your sort of mirror ideal self and then trying to kill them with a gun. That's what the whole thing is about, more and more. And the fact that it stems from this really weird poem that got kicked out of the magazine that he was originally writing it for because he was
going to write more than 15 of them, but he could only write 15 of them.
Because he got kicked out and people kept writing letters to the editor being like, what the fuck is this weird poetry?
It was probably anti-Japanese propaganda, they thought. This kind of weird stuff is like probably, anti-colonization, which is kind of interesting if you read studies of Yi Song's work, which I really enjoy doing. I have read several, academic studies about Yi Song because I think it's fascinating. And one of the fascinating things about Yi Song's work, especially as it relates to, like, queerness, is that, you really want to read The Wings and be like, okay, so what does this say about the situation with regards to, like, Japanese occupation of Korea and colonization of Korea? And it's like, well, I don't know if it really says a lot about this. I mean, he's writing from a, colonial position, but I don't know that he really was writing about, sort of the Japanese-Korean relations and the situation of being a colonized people. Like, he's really mostly writing about his own sort of personal, life and identity and experience. It's just fascinating. He's just sort of a fascinating man.
Well, it's probably kind of hard to understand, like, not in context, right? Because in the context of publishing that story, publishing it in Korean, which is a thing the Japanese government did not like, publishing that story while under Japanese occupation, being a guy that was somewhat, at least on the down low, known for, at least being part of groups that wrote things critical. In that
the actual dissolution of the League of Nine across roughly the same lines that it happens in Limbus Company is about Japanese Korean occupation and, whether or not we should be writing anti-Japanese, work.
Yeah, but if you think about the Wings in the context of, when it was written, it, like, is about Japanese occupation, but it's about being, like, having a bad, your country is having a bad time and you're just completely disconnected from it. Like, he just kind of floats through the world, like, past a variety of, like, a mix of Japanese and Korean references, and just sort of doesn't notice what's happening. And this, to me, always felt notable about the Wings. And, like, it being written, I think it is about Japanese occupation, but it's about, like, being dissociated from it, because you just want to, you just want to burn napkins.
You really
with
just,
a magnifying glass.
All of his work is both is and isn't about this, because he was a guy who lived in extreme relation to this, obviously. He was a guy who was a Korean guy living during Japanese colonial occupation of Korea. But all of his poetry is in sort of the paradoxical state of both just sort of being strange and being political. Truly fascinating. I find the whole of Limbus Company's portrayal of Yi Sang so interesting, because somebody there is just such a massive nerd that it's like that they wrote, not just like a retelling of The Wings or like with references to Yi Sang's other work in it, but they did like a historical recreation of the League of Nine, modernist Korean poets, all of them in the video game. Made several of them into other full characters referencing their own work, and they continue to, like, build up Yi Sang's whole deal around, like, as much Yi Sang literature as they can get their damn hands on. Relatively recently released, a couple months ago, I think. Time isn't real. Solemn Lament, Yi Sang, who, in his
I'm pulling up those skill names.
His skill names are reference to meeting between pig and spider, which I have to actually pull up the actual name of so I don't keep butchering it. But...
oh no, it's the passives and the defense skill. The defense skill, again, the whole thing about meeting between spider and pig and spider, I think its full name is that it's like words are just mashed together. Like, words are just run on words with only spaces
Spider
between
and
them
spider
sometimes.
meet pigs, that's what it is.
Spider and spider meet pigs. Yeah. He's the spider. Also, his wife is the spider. Also, both of them are the pigs. It's a little confusing. But the defense skill is, from the coffin a butterfly takes flight, all one word. And then the passives are, I see the dying butterfly, and fire I shall fire. The Yi Sang also has well, never mind. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. We'll get there. Much Yi Sang to talk about.
So much. All of it is so much.
The other thing is that I just really, really like Yi Sang, the character in Limbus Company. It's time to God. It's time to talk about Ivy's oh my god. Ivy's Punnett Square of special Limbus Company guys. So a Punnett Square is a thing that shows the interaction. How do I describe a Punnett Square?
A Punnett Square is a tool for basic genetics in which you take two genes with a dominant and recessive allele, one each, and then you put them in a square, which is divided into 4 sections, and then the 4 resulting squares are, have the dominant, recessive, and recessive, recessive.
Yeah. Right. So it's like a little, yeah. Listen, you can just look up a Punnett square to understand. But I have a little Punnett square of my 4 favorite Limbus Company characters. Replacing the dominant and recessive gene parts, are hot and funny. Yisong is, of course, in the funny corner. Very unattractive man. But I love him so much. He just sits around and then he says very weird things, and he's very, very bad at communicating. Even, like, he gets better after his Kanto, but even in, like, the most recent thing, in our timeline, which is, Kanto 7, there's this moment during the dungeon where he's like, and Dante's like, what's up? And he's like, I shan't say. And Dante's like, okay. And then, like, two nodes later, he's like, Dante, have you noticed that it's kind of like we're in a lobotomy corporation facility? It's like, dude,
he's conducting research. Let him cook.
He's conducting research, and he's just like, he's really bad at talking about things, especially himself. I wrote a whole fan fiction about this. You can read our companion fan fiction on our official AO3. It's linked in the episode description. But I just wanted to write a fic in which Yisong in Limbus Company writes Yisong's The Wings, because I think I'm funny. But also, I wanted to write a fic where Yisong in Limbus Company has to write Yisong's The Wings, because he's so bad at communicating. This is the only way that he can talk about himself, is by writing a really weird and stupid modernist short story. He's just kind of like that. Very droll.
Very droll.
We've been talking about Korean literature for like half an hour.
Well, I'm moving into looking at Yisong, the man. His main art has, I think, we're into the first sinner who has a full, fleshed out Kanto. Released after the initial release of the game. This is the first sinner who has an associated Circle of Hell. The first 3 Kantos serve as prologue, and then we get into the actual Circles of Hell for the remaining 9 sinners. I'm really enjoying how Limbus Company is sort of doing this thing where it's like, well, we have a bunch of numbered things that we want to fit into our game, but not a lot of them align with the number 12, and so we're just gonna, like, count down until we have that many left, and then start doing our little symbolism.
We have to have 12s for reasons.
Reasons.
But then we also have other numbers of guys, so, well,
9 and 7. And so we've gotta, don't worry about it, guys. But his Circle of Hell is Limbo.
This piece of art, this is on limbuscompany.wiki.gg/wiki/Yisong. We're just looking at the main sort of poster art to start. This art always struck me because of how white it... I noticed this while making the thumbnail for this for this episode for YouTube. But, like, how just, like, bright and also bleached it is compared to everyone else's. Everyone else is kind of, like, in this sort of, like, dark, ominous space, when he's just, like, in this... he's just in this extremely bright white...
Well, he's in the white cube.
He's in the white cube, yeah, from Psychonauts. On sale for $2.
On sale for $2.
My favorite touch in this image, and also this is in the background of the lab in his Kanto. Everything in the background is black and white, except for the bottle of pills, which is a nice sort of bottle of pill orange.
It's a good touch. This is what I was getting at with he's the person with a fully fleshed out Kanto, is that his background here is actually a thing that's used in game. Hooray! I mean, this exact image isn't used in game, but in fact, this is a real location that we see. Real in quotation marks, but we see this image. All of his little, mirror shards have various images from the game transposed onto them. You can see, I think that's in the top left is maybe Gregor's ego. There's definitely on the right you can clearly see both Roge's main art with the slots and also World of R Corp with some rabbits. There's the green of K Corp. There's the N Corp. Nodulund hammer.
Purple
armor.
bits W Corp stuff.
I think the purple bits might actually be. I don't know if this is true. I don't think they're all entirely identifiable, but the purple bits I'm tempted to say are the nightclub from Kanto 5. This would be an insane poll, but they have this. They have the right color scheme. You can see the vision of N Corp from Merceau's main art, also in the top right. The Smoke War from Gregor's Kanto.
This is like our most. It's like our most well-researched episode ever. This is just because we really like Yisong.
Oh yeah, it's also because there's just There's a lot here. In the original version of this image, one of these had a Capri Sun in it. An actual Capri Sun. This is a true fact. You can find this image on the wiki page. If you scroll all the way down, you can see his original promo art, and you can see the Capri Sun. Everyone do that now.
There it is. The Capri Sun.
It's in the top right. It's the Capri Sun.
The Capri Sun mirror world.
And then also his original promo art. They stopped doing text from the books on the promo art after getting in trouble. But they got in trouble for the text on the promo art, also in the trivia section, that said, "I do not have the mirror now, but the me inside the mirror is in it, and I do not know, but he is probably obsessed with his lefty work," which is from the translation of Yusong's selected works that I read. But, it's sort of dubious whether or not they had permission to put that in there, because Yisong's selected works as a whole, not in the public domain, on account of translation, is translation.
Mm-hmm. It sure is.
You know how it is. The man himself.
The man himself. We're not gonna get in trouble for that bonus episode. No, we're way too small anyway.
Don't worry about it.
It's fine. Ang Jung-yo, if you want me to give you like $20, I'll give you like $20. I like
that. That translation of the wings, I'm pretty sure, is public domain.
Oh, okay. Ang Jung-yo, if you want me to give you $20 anyway, I'll give you $20. It's a good translation.
It's a good translation. Hee-sung is such a uniquely sad-looking man.
He really they give him such... Honestly, I was sort of very briefly perusing his art earlier, and honestly, I'm realizing now that the bags on his main art are, relatively tame compared to some others.
But in every other image of him, it's how tired can you make a person look?
And he looks pretty tired here.
Do more.
He looks miserable here. He looks like he wants to go home.
Mm-hmm.
He's
looking at you very unhappily.
He's looking at you very unhappily. His eyes are, a little bit unfocused. He has, I love that his coat is way too big for him. Mm-hmm. This overcoat is, at least a size too big. It's also, he treats it like shit. It's, grubby and, tattered. You ever think that maybe Limbus Company gives them black outfits so that they don't have to launder them very much? He's dressed relatively smartly. Again, all the details, devil's in the details of how they're dressed. He's dressed relatively smartly.
His shirt is neatly pressed. I appreciate it.
His shirt is relatively neatly pressed. He has his tie on. He has his vest tucked into his pants. But he's
Everything
sort
is
of
tucked
like,
into his belt.
yeah, he's sort of like notably. To me it feels like he's kind of notably lacking little details, you know.
He wears the
Like,
uniform as it was designed to be worn, except that he wears his jacket like shit.
uh-huh. Yeah. They give him a jacket size too big, because he's too skinny on account of he doesn't eat.
Yeah. On account of
And
he
you
only
know,
eats sprouted potatoes.
yeah. And his tie is like, you know, it's done, but it's not like up. It looks, it's a little loose. And he has this like weird I can't. I understand that this is a normal way to look at sheaths, but every time I see a thing that's like has it strapped to your thigh, I always think that you're going to the club. Sorry, but he has this like
He is not going to the club.
for Yi-song, which makes me think that someone gave him this. He does have kind of like a sexy, like thigh holstered, like cool dagger.
Yeah.
This is actually a miniaturized version of like a cool Korean type of sword.
Yes, it is. His dagger is a sangyum, and its name is For Tiger Sword, which, again, if you scroll down in the trivia section, well-researched episode, you can see the explanation of the name of the sword, which is also Ha Young is how you would. It's For Tiger Sword, but it would be forged during the year, month, day, and hour of the tiger, which I enjoy just because I think it's very particular, and he's a very particular man.
Mm-hmm. So I got distracted looking at swords. Anyway,
But his dagger sheath also serves as a place for him to keep his notebook. His dagger sheath is attached to his little book bag.
He has
notebook.
He has a little writing book. He has a bunch of his little battle sprites also. At least his Crow's Eye View battle sprite, but I think he does it other times also. He like, you know, sometimes he opens his notebooks and like looks at it. Which is funny. He's like, you know, he writes down little poems and stuff, you know, like Yi-song.
It's in LCB Sinner. Yi-song has an attack where he just like whacks somebody with his book.
Right. Level 34 default Yi-song. That's him. Also important. Ash, did I lose you?
No, I'm still here.
Never mind. Sorry. Also important, reasonably, the big shards of glass in the back, they form a pair of wings.
Fly, broken wings.
Yeah, they're broken wings. Unclear if they can fly. But they are like the wings from Yi-song's The Wings.
Well, the important thing is that they're broken wings, but also they're perfect wings.
Right. And also they're the wings from Yi-song's The Wings by Yi-song.
Yeah, we know this.
Yeah. We're all familiar. I really like this piece of art. I find it very compelling. That, like, the composition is nice.
It really is such a, like, you know, I think this is definitely one of the strongest, if not the strongest, of the main, like, promo images for the Sinners.
Mm-hmm. To say something slightly more interesting than it's nice, just, like, does a really good job of, like, having lots of little details that you can, like, pull your eyes to. You can look at the metas, the little pill bottle full of aspirins, one assumes.
Maybe Adelines. Who's to say?
You can get lost in, like, trying to figure out what's in the mirror and so on and so forth, but it's all, like, all of these, like, all of the cracks and all of the, like, ways that things point back to Yi-song. They specifically, like, point back to, like, his sloping shoulders, and just, like, sort of shit posture. And it's just, like, it's just like a really well done image, and it's very, very striking, especially like next to a lot of the other ones of these. You look at this and you're like, whoa, and then it like takes you a minute to figure it out, but you don't ever really get lost. It's nice. It's just like a good, solid image.
It's nice.
Shout out to Yi Song.
Shout out to Yi Song.
Shout out to Yi Song.
Fly Broken Wings, if I may be honest.
TBH, Broken Wings, fly. Hey, did they change this wiki so that the IDs are in chronological order now?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Just letting you know.
Only the last two are in chronological order. But maybe that's just a coincidence. Anyway.
Maybe. I know what order they're in if we're ready to get going.
I would.
Well, first off, we're gonna go with... There's 2 Yi-Song identities that were available on release, and those are 7 Association and Blade Lineage. And we'll start with 7 Association, since it is a 0-0. 7 Association, South Section 6 Yi-Song. You need not hide any secrets from me.
This art is this early in the game? I guess so.
Yep.
I really like this piece. It's like... First of all, as we go through these pieces of art, we have to play a little game, which is who in this art, if anyone, is Yi Song's wife? This one has Yi Song's wife. It's Ryoshu. She has her back turned to him, which represents his fate or his destiny. My bad. He has he's wearing like the 7 Association, like, I don't know why they wear this color. It's always it's slightly baffled me forever. But this kind of like dark green shirt with like a lime green tie. Why do they dress like this? Who can say?
Green.
And he also has this in a lot of his art. But I don't know if this is a specific Yi-Song reference or whether it's just like, a thing that a lot of Korean people wear. But he has it's called a dopo robe, right?
Yeah. I think this is a dopo robe. I mean, I know what a dopo robe is, but I think this is a dopo robe.
I am fighting.
I am fighting.
Dopo, yeah. He has the same robe in a bunch of his different things. But yeah, he's wearing a Japanese dopo robe over top of just like his collared shirt. Look, how tired does this Yi-Song look?
Oh,
do you think?
Extremely. This is an extremely tired Yi-Song. It's honestly, we're not going to cover this piece of art, but, since we're talking about 7 Association Yi-Song, it's important to cover one of his cameos in other card art, which is
Mint?
In Mint, which is in 7 Association Faust's Upside 1 art. You can see this by going to Yi-Song/gallery /IDs. I mean, it's not /IDs, but you can go to the IDs tab on gallery and see 7 Association Faust. And he is sort of like looking at who is his wife in this image? It's Otis, who he is asking for a mint coffee, and she's very upset about it. But he just really likes mint coffee. He's like, I just want mint coffee. All I want in the whole wide world is mint coffee. It says, even though this comes from, one can assume from this Faust art, the 7 Association, proprietary...
They're in-house, yes, sort of corporate coffee shop. It says
mint coffee on it. Why? Ow!
I don't know.
But he's actively frowning in this image, which is further than usual for Yi-Song's expression. If you look at his face too closely, he looks like the saddest man in the whole world. He's looking forlornly off to the side, frowning, gripping his mint coffee.
Uh-huh.
It is paperwork.
I also think that they do a good job, in particular in this one, of making his hair really look like shit. There's just so many little bits going everywhere. It's like completely like in his eyes in a way that looks painful.
Yeah.
Great. And I also just, again, I just really like this image. Like, it's not, it's just is really well framed. This hallway feels like feels weirdly too big and also kind of claustrophobic, you know? Like, it's a pretty wide hallway for what seems to be an apartment hallway, but it also, like, the camera lens and the rendering of it makes it feel like closing in on him.
And this, like, extremely green patterned wallpaper that they have is so good to me.
Yeah.
I love this. I love this image, truly. I think this is one of the best, like, on-release images that they have. And a lot of it can be owed to this patterned green wallpaper, IMO. It just makes, like, a really genuinely, interesting, albeit simple, background for one of these.
Yeah, and the fact that it's also patterned up on the ceiling makes, again, adds to this feeling of, like, being trapped in a box. And also just, like, the painting on this image is really nice. It's just really nicely painted and shaded. All the rim lighting on him is this really nice sort of sickly yellow. Like, he's just, like, his posing is very clear, even though it's very simple. Ryoshu looks great. I kind of wish that she was less blurred, even though it's fine. Because she's obviously just, like, drawn really, really well. She looks really nice.
Yeah, they got her whole Odachi rendered here.
They have the whole poem, like, written out and then put behind a blur filter. It's very funny.
They've got her nice ass.
She does have, like, this... It's very difficult to not look at Ryoshu, in part because Yi-sang is looking at Ryoshu, because she just looks she just looks very handsome from the back.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you. But, it's just like a nice image to look at. I don't know.
I don't know what it is about Yi-sang, Ryoshu, and Otis that makes them put these three together in things, but these three also make up the Molar Office crew, even though Ryoshu doesn't have a Molar Office identity, and it's like, okay. I mean, it's just because of Yi-sang and Ryoshu's weirdo chemistry. And then, like, both of them being complete freaks matching up with Otis's, like, many problems. Yi-sang and Ryoshu, two of my favorite guys to see interact in any capacity. Always good.
They're so weird.
And then, furthermore, the Uptie 3 image?
It's fine.
This one, I think, is less, has less of the problem that a lot of these early and late images have, where the Uptie 3 is just worse than the Uptie 1, because it's not as interesting. I think this is composed well. I really like him, like, looking down his sword like this. We have Merceau pretty visible in the background, which gives you something else to look at. And, like, he's changed outfits. He's fully in uniform in this one. He's got the green suit jacket, and the white collared shirt. And then the, crossguard of his blade looks like it should be his tie. Sort of a fun fact about the composition of this image.
Have you noticed?
The green light is just, is genuinely really great, and I think frames this image really well.
Yeah. Have you noticed that the hilts of the swords are little sevens?
Wait.
They're little sevens.
The hilts of the swords are little sevens?
Sorry, not the hilt, the crossguard.
No, I hadn't.
It's a little seven. It goes down and then it goes across like a little seven.
It does.
It's the opposite direction that a sword crossguard should be going. Well, I guess that depends on the sword. Some sword crossguards go, like, stick up so you can catch swords, but I guess some do go down so that and are more for deflecting. It depends on the style of the sword, etc., etc.
I know some of our listeners will not be familiar with the word seven. Seven means seven in British English.
Right. Yeah. Of the 12 languages that are represented in Limbus Company, 7 is, of course, from British English, and it means 7.
Yeah.
Um,
Just wanted to make sure everybody was clear on that before we move
yeah,
forward.
and, like, for our British English speaking listeners, 7 in American English means 7.
Yeah. We're saying the same thing. It's, 7 means 7.
Yeah.
If you hear either of those words, you can just transplant the other one in your head, whatever you need.
But I do like the composition of the image. I really like the repeating swords fading out into the background. I almost kind of wish it was more abstract and there was just kind of an infinite line of guys. I feel like that would be very satisfying to me. I think his outfit looks nice. It's just not like a particularly emotionally compelling image, but I do like looking at it.
I mean, it's Yi-song. He looks,
He does. Here's the thing: is that like I have generally less of a problem with Yi-song's always being like than with Sinclair always being like just because I feel like Sinclair is more fun when he just expresses a wide variety of emotions. Meanwhile, we'll get there, but whenever Yi-song expresses an emotion that isn't I kind of freak out a little bit. I don't know. It's fine. This image, I like it reasonably well. I almost feel like I would like it more if it was a little bit more abstract. I kind of find a lot of the background details more distracting than anything.
I disagree with you, just because I find that the abstract backgrounds on the Uptight 3s are a pattern which, leads itself to bad places.
That's fair. Well, I guess my point is that, like, it is like, I don't know what the fuck this space is or how it's laid out or what it is. Why does it, like, are these giant doors in the background? Like, what's going on?
Well, there's a guy coming through a door on the right.
There's a guy coming through the door. Right. But why does this room stretch on so far into the distance, but with these weird partitions that have green windows in it?
Well, behind there is my husband.
Right. The partition that separated the 7 Association training room represented my destiny.
Yeah.
But, like,
other
I think my
tiny
point
little detail... Sorry, you go.
My point is that it's both... It's too abstract for me to comprehend it and to give me something to look at, really. But it's also, like, not abstract enough that I find it kind of, like, pleasing. It's in a weird middle ground, IMO.
I'm happy with the middle ground. I think it's nice.
Fair.
It's not an incomprehensible battle scene, and that makes me happy.
Honestly, fair enough.
A little detail that I do genuinely think is really interesting about this image. Yi-song doesn't have a thing like a lot of other people do. Ryoshu's sword is her thing. Gregor's bug is his thing. Some people just have a thing that they always have in all their images. But 7 Association Yi-song has a hint of a thing, which is that in this image you can see that his, little bookcase, little book bag that he has, is under his coat here, to the extent that it makes a noticeable little bump in the coat.
Yeah, it's cute. And
which is very cute.
This makes sense generally, also, because he's like a detective, He writes stuff down.
He keeps his papers in there.
Keeps the thing on him.
Okay, great.
Okay,
Second
great.
Association Yi-song complete?
Yeah. I think we're good.
Okay. Next up, the other guy who was came with the game on release, is Blade Lineage. Blade Lineage Salsu Yi-song. I know of the ways to cut through a heart with elegance and eccentricity.
Boys love Yi-song.
Boys love Yi-song. This identity was free. You can get him if you were one of the people who got the game pre-registered pre-release. He was the free gift that they gave out. They gave you a Blade Lineage Yi-song Fun fact.
Came for free with your Xbox.
It came for free with your fucking Xbox. I also find it amusing that his trivia section says that he looks like Bamboo-Hatted Kim. I mean, he does, but sorry, Bamboo-Hatted Kim is a different guy.
Right.
Sorry,
However,
guys.
Bamboo... Well, this is Ash not knowing that Bamboo-Hatted Kim is from a Library of Ruina optional reception until recently. It would make sense to have Blade Lineage
it's
guys
not like we were
coming
saving
out. Space
for Bamboo-Hatted Kim, I suppose. We weren't expecting there to be Bamboo-Hatted Kim lore.
Yeah, we weren't optional reception Bamboo-Hatted Kim. When do we get to fight optional...
7 Association Dante.
I was about to say, when do we get optional association Dante?
I want optional reception chain gang. Anyway. This image is very pretty. The Uptie one for Blade Lineage.
Yeah.
The motes of dust coming in, lit by the moon, just like in Ivy's Yi Song fic.
Just like the motes of dust floating in front of the projector in Ivy's Yi Song fic on our official AO3.
The way that he's wearing his outfit here, though, is kind of insane. Most, very low buttoned shirt, and then his robe is just draped over his shoulder. Okay.
Well, first of all, every time I look at this image, it takes me a second to realize what's happening and that he's not wearing, a cool, going to the club two-tone shirt.
Exactly.
You know those two-tone shirts where it's one tone on one side and the other tone on the other side?
I would rock one of those. I should have one of those.
You, honestly? Ash, what's wrong with you?
I'm sorry.
If I wasn't already... You should be. If I wasn't already getting you a different shirt for Christmas. But I don't know. I kind of vibe with the robe slung over his shoulder. It gives this particular vibe of he gets home from work and he is his arm in it or is it just slung over?
No, it's just slung over.
No. Yeah, I don't know. You get home, you sit down on the floor, because you're Yi-Song, and you, take off your robe, but then you're kind of cold, so you sling it, half over yourself, and then
you look out the window at the moon.
You ponder the moon.
Tiredness rating on this Yi-Song?
Super high. Should we be giving these numbers?
Look at those bags.
These bags are insane. They're drawn with, scribbles. They really put a lot of effort into these bags in particular. His posing is tired. He looks like he's about to fall asleep. He's covered in little scars because he's from the Blade lineage, so he's doing Blade shit all day. On account of his Blade shit, he's covered in little scars. It's kind of hot in a way that I think is very funny to put on Yi-Song. This
absolutely.
will become a reoccurring theme. Every time they try and make Yi-Song hot, I think this is hilarious.
It's a fun thing about Blade Lineage Yi-Song, and this is, back in my day, when we just gotten the video game, and we didn't have a lot of identities to obsess over. A lot of people picked Blade Lineage Yi-Song as their guy to obsess over. And you know why? It's because Blade Lineage Yi-Song's window lines are insanely flirtatious with Dante?
Wait. Hang on.
So, if you go to voice lines for Blade Lineage Yi-Song, it's... Let me see where it is.
I'll tell you a secret. I can slay a foe with both my eyes and ears closed. I was in jest. Dante, you're truly credulous.
Until now, a clock was nothing more than a useless thing to me. Yours, however, has such a peculiar charm to it, Dante. I shall stay by your side until my sword breaks. You're rather cold, turning away the moment a conversation dies down.
Goddamn.
I know of the ways to cut through a heart with elegance and eccentricity.
He sure fucking does.
This is just very strange, but very funny. he's hot and is like, "Hey, Dante."
Hey, Dante.
Hello, my wife. His
I've
wife in
kind of
this image
noticed
is the
that you're
moon,
like,
though.
yeah, I was. You stole my joke. I was about to say the wife in this image is the moon. There's even the room divider. It's open right now because the moon is inviting him into her room for dinner. But
This is very strange and makes him scared.
he's so scared. He's also very tired.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, stop being hot and go take a nap. You're Yi-sung. Uptie 3?
Upside 3.
This... I like this image. I think it's
also,
dynamic.
if I may, a pretty good image.
Also a pretty good image. They really, don't give these early... for some reason, Yi-sung in particular gets a lot of really good early art, and I don't know why. Very clear image, very clear action. Mm-hmm. I love the little, oh my god, I feel like I should know what this is called, but the little rope charm sort of flying off as it's being, cut off of the Kurokuma clan member that he's murdering. Mm-hmm. I really, really like that it's, I guess you could argue that this is from victim perspective, but I really like that sort of, that you don't see any part of the body that he's killing. Mm-hmm. It's all just kind of movement and blood, and then this little rope charm flying off that looks like a little intestine almost. Mm-hmm.
There's a clear line of motion in the sword swing that then comes back around in the gleaming sword. And then you've also got the blood splatters that go along with it. You've got the, uncinched, ribbons of his robe that fly off of him, that give him a little bit more motion. I personally am a huge fan of... I realized this when I was looking at Don Quixote sprites, but all of the Blade Lineage members just hold their sword sheaths. They don't have them attached to things, which means that Blade Lineage Don Quixote occasionally attacks people with the sheath of her sword, which is adorable. But there he is holding the sheath of his sword, and then he also has, again, hints of Yi-sung having a thing early in development. He has the thigh holster. You just can't see anything, on it.
he's the thigh holster made of straps of cloth instead of leather. It's quite
mm-hmm.
fetching, actually.
It is.
The composition on this image is actually, I have to zoom out to look at it. But the composition on this image is really, really nice. It's a nice spiral. If mm-hmm. you start at the moon, his wife, mm-hmm. I think.
Still his wife.
It and follow the line of the cut out of the frame and then up and then to his blade, and then it kind of spirals into his body and then ends at this this little red rope charm.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of sick. It looks really good.
I don't think there's a ton to say about this one. It just looks great.
Yeah. The blood splatters look good. There's a nice attention to detail where there's more blood splatters on the parts that are close to, the blood. It's not haphazard. It looks nice. Mm-hmm. And again, there's just so many lines of motion, but it's not overwhelming. I don't think it needs this much blur filter on. I think it could use. This is my main critique of the image, which it doesn't need critique, but I think it could use less blur filter. I think if the line of this sword was really sharp and clean, that would look really good, actually. Who am I to say? They love their blur filter.
They do. They learned how to use it recently, and they're really, really happy about it.
Yeah. The Limbus Company art team's wife is the blur filter.
And, then they have an affair briefly with the smudge filter.
So true.
My last note on this image is just that I think it's funny that everybody in the world of Project Moon wears a suit at all times, including the Blade Lineage, who have a suit underneath their robes.
Yeah.
This is true of everyone. Everyone wears a suit and tie.
It's kind of it's kind of like a boring it's kind of like a boring vest, and like,
Yeah, and
nothing
it doesn't
particularly
look great
special
with
of
this
it.
outfit.
No, it really doesn't. Like, the black is a different black from the black of the robe.
His
and
collar
it's
is
like,
too high. He's got his tie all cinched up, and it's like, dude,
can you
you
just,
can
like,
calm down a little.
he it looks like the robes are custom made, but they pick up the vests off the rack, and it just doesn't work. You gotta coordinate your fabrics. Come on, you're running
Gotta
a
coordinate
syndicate
your
here.
fabrics. I mean, come
You're running
on.
a syndicate that's... I don't remember. I know the Kurakuma are part of the Thumb. Doesn't matter.
I think the Blade lineage are just like ragtag.
Are they just guys?
They're
just dudes?
Yeah, they're just guys.
Yeah, okay.
Next up, we have... Weirdly, I was surprised that Yisung did not get another identity beyond those two until after Kanto 4. But he doesn't.
Weird.
He gets Efflorest, Ego, Spicebush, Yisung is next. You can check my work. This is genuinely the next one that he gets. It's very weird. But, good for him. The Uptie one on Spicebush Yisung is one of my favorite images in the entire video game.
It is, like, gorgeous.
This image is so... Okay, so I had this as my profile and my window image for a long time, because I was like, God, he is hot. I don't find Yisung particularly hot. He's hot basically in this image strictly, but, like, there's a lot to it. He's sort of, he's got his, like, piercing golden eyes. He's seated in front of this beautiful, like, screen painting, that is so, like, it's got, it's a beautiful mural. It's surprisingly, like, well rendered and detailed for, again, here's a case of them not using their wife the blur filter too much. So you can really see, like, everything in this painting very well. And then he's on top of this, like, bed of camellias. Again, his thing, he's got his notebook, behind him, and the straps for it. And then he's got his beautiful, camellia fan. And just, like, his whole pose here is so, like, it's not just that he's hot because he's covered in flowers that are sprouting out of his body, which, to be clear, very hot. But, like, it's because he's in this pose of, like, disinterest, but also kind of, like... He's looking at you entering his space, and he's in control of the space in a way that is, like, extremely, titillating. It is titillating.
Yeah. There's also, like, there's so many... I love the way this image is, like, divided symmetrically, both vertically and horizontally. You've got, like, the line of the window light dividing it horizontally, and then the sun marks this really clear vertical line down. And he's, like, kind of awkwardly off-center of both of these.
Yeah, he's leaning off so that his gaze is a little bit off-center from the center of the image. Because he's got his head in his hand.
This sun feels, like, intentionally placed to make it so that you know that he's off-center, adding to his sort of, like, weird vibes. This pose is also very, like, weird and interesting. In particular, like, he's sitting meditatively, and at first glance, it looks like he's sort of resting his head on his hand on his leg, but that's not true. His hand is hovering above his leg. So it's more like he's just sort of, like, pressing his hand to his cheek contemplatively.
Which, this is sort of, we were talking about this recently, but, off recording, but we were talking about this recently, is that it's really good when, like, art has, or no, we were talking about this in the Yui Yagi episode, never mind. It's really good when, like, artistic poses correctly capture something that it feels like you do, but isn't particularly stylish to do. And I feel like this pose where I can't quite get comfortable, like, figuring out what part of my body to lean on, because your elbow's just, like, a little bit too sharp to press into, like, the meat of your leg like that, but also you kind of want somewhere comfortable to rest your head, so you kind of have your arm, like, a little bit tensed so that you can rest your head against it, but, like, you really want to lean against your leg, but then your head is too far down, and it's like, you can imagine being in this position and ending up in this pose, which looks alright, but if you investigate it too much, it's like, you're kind of uncomfortable.
Yeah, I mean, like, he's tired, and so it's like, it's this fun thing of, like, is he leaning down and sort of catching himself? It's also like, his fingers are kind of entwining with the flowers coming out of his face, and also with his hair. You can see specifically that his hair is, like, interlaced into his fingers. I can't do this because I just got a haircut. But, like, it's really nice. And again, this, like, this horizontal line, I keep switching up what I mean, but, the line of the light is at a really kind of, like, awkward position, in the composition in a way I really like. Like, it's not like you can see his body and then just his face is in shadow or anything. It looks very organic and kind of awkward. The way that this, like, his right sort of collar strip of the robe is just like a little bit in the light. I don't know. I've been doing a lot of kind of like carefully arranging women for YouTube thumbnails. And so this really catches my eye as like kind of awkward, right? It's kind of awkward to have just this little corner of bright stuff sticking out. But that makes it feel very organic, and it makes him feel like, I don't know. It simultaneously makes him feel like he doesn't quite have it together, but also like, that this is sort of organically his space, and he's not like it's very good. It's really nice. It just looks really pretty. I really like these on the oh my god, the wall screens. The way that these trees interact with the tree branches coming out of his shoulders is so really good. Nice.
His tree branches coming out of his shoulders are like featherless wings. That's part of the whole thing.
Wait, hang on. Like the wings from Yisung's the wings?
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
Oh!
I love the little reference implicit in this art, which is, of course, that his room is the one without sunlight. And so you've opened the door and let the sunlight in to his room without the sunlight in it.
Wait. Are you saying that the wife in this image is us?
Yes.
Be the wife.
Be the wife. And then, like in the podcast intro. This is one of my favorite images for tiny little extremely particular details. I think it's just because they draw all of these flowers so well. We haven't really talked about it, but like the way that they render these spice bush flowers, both in the like main art of the game, or the CGs that both in the CGs and in the identity art. The way that they render these spice bush flowers is really like, just a bunch of patches of paint with other colors, kind of haphazardly strewn about them, and then these little, like, bits coming off that are, I don't know what these are called in flowers, the stamen, I think, coming out of the flowers that, like, are kind of haphazardly around, but they look fantastic always. I love the way that they draw these.
And there's this is a really nice, you can see it especially in his hair, but there's this really nice contrast between, like, his hair is, like, very kind of, like, nicely drawn. It has, like, nice line art. And then the spice bush flowers are extremely, like, modernist and sketchy, and they're just sort of like paintbrushes, and it looks really good, and it really emphasizes that, like, this is an unnatural thing. This is like an ego that he's put on, or that he's fluoresced
between two art styles. It's great.
Yeah, it does own. This also, like, little details just to make this room feel more lived in. Oh, you can see like the shape of the detailing of the door in the shadow,
Yeah, in
which
the
is
light,
kind of
yeah.
insane. He has his little book sort of a thing. This little candlestick, I think.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
In the foreground is just like, it just like makes it feel a little bit more lived in. This is a pretty abstract space. It is like a little bit of like a, Utna room that goes on forever. But they had all of these little kind of like humanizing touches are nice.
And then he's got two little strings coming out of his fan, down at the bottom of his fan, that just make me very happy. I don't even really understand why they're there. It's just like, you can just look at these two little strings that interact with the rug, and it's like, yeah, someone put those two little strings there. It pleases me.
This is a thing on fans, but I can't remember why.
Yeah.
Or
I'm vaguely aware that this is a thing that the fan would have.
Oh,
I don't know
I
why.
think I've interacted with a lot of fans at one point in my life, but it's been a while. Insane thing to say.
I know this about you.
I believe that these are for like tying the fan together so it doesn't open if you don't want it to, like if you have it in your bag or whatever.
Uh-huh.
I think so. Again, it
just
probably
makes me
like
happy.
a Korean fan and not which might be different in construction, but.
Fantastic image.
Fucking, yeah. Genuinely, like, maybe one of the best images we've ever looked at on the podcast.
It's so good. I still think this is... I will set my manager profile back to this soon, I'm sure. Just because I am so obsessed with it. And then I think the Uptight 3 is also good, but worse. Regrettably.
Yeah. It's
like... nothing can compare, really, to the Uptight 1. There are really nice things about the Uptight 3. Like, he's doing the thing in Kanto 4 where you open up your little, like, ego-inspired pocket dimension. You can see the edges of it colliding with the actual space that he's in. This blue sky and stuff. And, like, seeing all of the flowers on him is great. And, like, seeing him in action is pretty cool. Seeing the blood is pretty cool. But it's just like, it's not composed as well, and the light is too much.
Yeah. There's some things I like about this uniquely. I like how emaciated he looks here in particular.
Oh, yeah.
Something about his jawline and these, like, prominent collarbones make him look very thin and sick, which is how I want my Yi-songs to look.
Yep.
I like how this blood is drawn, dripping off in these big, like, thick lines. It's compelling.
This is an animated one, as most of the Uptight 3s are. And then, so this, this branch weapon waves up and down and the blood drips off it, and then this red splotch to the side grows and shrinks in intensity.
I honestly find the, like, kind of extra dimensional goop outline of his little extra dimensional space kind of distracting.
It is a little bit. It might be a better image if they just got this, like, blue sky all the way to the sides, but I understand why they did it, just because it's clearer as an image in terms of, like, it's clearer that this is not a real space, and I feel like the problem, despite the fact that maybe having it to the edges would be better, is that it would imply too strongly that this is a real space that he's in, which is important that it's not.
Yeah, I get it, but also I think it hinders a little bit. This like branch on his right shoulder goes from looking fine to looking kind of blown out, like contrasting against the dark
very
gray.
Blown out.
It's just a little bit weird.
If he was a little bit more contained within the space, and also they didn't have these, like, my wife, the blur filter, these blurred out branches in front of the camera for no apparent reason. This is the thing that frustrates me about Limbus Company's art direction, is they love to just put an object in front of the camera blurred out for no apparent reason.
I have future pieces of art in this episode where I have this qualm very strongly.
Shoutouts
but also
to Sinclair Goop.
Oh my god, the goop! Ooh! Anyway, sorry. I'm not getting ahead of myself and starting to talk about rain. But like also in the bottom right, the edge of it in the bottom right kind of like continues his robe in a way that I don't necessarily find particularly satisfying. It just like looks a little bit awkward, IMO. It's like I don't know. I like this image in pieces. I think his facial expression is kind of weird here. But I like his face. I love that like more of the flowers of like, are taking over his robe, and like over half of his face has taken over. This like weapon looks pretty sick. It's just like as we just like devolve at the end of it into this complete just like fucking Francis Bacon ass, like just big brush strokes.
And the way that the way that it's drawn to imply three-dimensionality, this weapon, I think this weapon is the best part of the image. Both the way that like, these stamen are extended to unreasonable proportions in order to like facilitate this dripping blood, and the way that the center of it, in order to imply three-dimensionality, is like transformed from, brown brushstrokes on a yellow base to these like thin yellow lines that imply the edges of flowers on top of this largely red base. Like, it's really cool to me.
His shirt is rendered really nicely here. It's a very clear garment. You can see very clearly how it hangs over his body, which is loosely. It makes him look very thin, because you can see at the bottom the way it flares out, even though it doesn't get that much bigger, because he's just skinny. He's just a skinny little nerd. But like trying to look at the overall image here is like kind of hard. I don't know where to look, and I keep getting distracted by things in, like, not a good way. I can't tell if the focus is his face or the weapon, which don't
it's frustrating.
Very apart from each other.
The weapon leads you out of the image and doesn't really give you a way back in.
Yeah.
It's fine, because the uptie one is, like, the best piece of art in this video game.
Yeah, just look at the uptie one.
Just look at the upside one. You don't need this image.
Be happy.
Be happy.
This camellia thing is like both a reference to Dongbake, and also I'm pretty sure there's a Crow's Eye View poem that's about like having branches of flowers coming out of you.
The weirdly thing that is referenced in multiple Limbus Company works is graves and flowers. But Yisong's poem, The Cliff, is the one that he raps in his Sarajine. Or no, it's just called Cliff. And it is, pulling it up real quick, on my Yisong Selected Works PDF that I always have open like the wings. JK, I just have it open for this episode.
Oh, I always have the wings open in a tab on all my devices. This is not a lie.
Cliff. I cannot see the flower. The flower is fragrant. The fragrance is in full bloom. I dig a grave in it, but I cannot see the grave either. I enter the grave I cannot see and sit there. I lie down. I can smell the flower again. I still cannot see the flower. The fragrance is in full bloom. I forget about it and dig a grave. I still cannot see the grave. I forget about the flower and go into the grave I cannot see. Ah! I can smell the flower again. This flower I cannot see. This flower I cannot see.
Oh my god, I love Yisong.
I love him.
He writes in such a particular and recognizable way, even though he writes like in so many different styles structurally. My favorite thing about Crow's Eye View is that every single poem is written is different structurally. Some of them are mostly images. It's weird. But also, I was correct. Poem number 7 in Crow's Eye View is also... I won't really read the whole thing, it's kind of long. But there was a tree branch in the distant land of my banishment. A flower blossomed on this branch. It was a curious-looking flower blooming during the 4th full moon of the year. The world revolved... blah, 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 blah. The world revolved and rotated 30 times. 2 clean mirrors, and then he talks about mirrors for a while. And then he talks about flowers more. Anyway.
One last thing about Efflorest Spicebush. If you look at his battle sprites, you can see his shoes. And I wish you could see them in the art, because I really like his shoes. He's just got these, like, strappy, on top of socks. Like, it's great. Big fan.
Good job with your shoes.
Good job with your shoes.
And also, if you scroll down on this page, you can see the acquisition still, in which he has
of
the
him
fan
with the fan
open.
in front of his face, and then his eye starts glowing, and it's so good. I really wish they had more GIFs on this wiki of, like, the animated Uptie 3s and, like, the, acquisition videos. Like, it would be good, but whatever. Next one, and last one before a break. Because it'll be 5 out of 10. And then
Yeah.
trust me.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm okay.
Molar Office Fixer Yi Song. Alas, it appears that we must involve ourselves in this matter.
Wow. So this is Yisung, as Rain, the same guy that
Sinclair is
Sancho. The same guy that Sancho. That's wow, unbelievable.
Jesus.
The same guy that Sinclair was in that one piece of art that we didn't like. I hope it doesn't have the same problem where you can't see the weapon. And I'm sure in the Uptime 3 art you'll be able to see the weapon clearly. One of the most iconic weapons. One of the most iconic weapons IMO in Library of Ruina, and also an iconic part of this character. But the Uptime 1 art is nice. I like it. In this image, Otis is his wife.
Oh, yeah, Otis is his wife. Also, Ryoshu is to the left of him, but you can't see her at all. It's, again, if you go to Yisong /gallery, and then you look at IDs, you can see in the acquisition art for Molar Office Fixer Otis, you can both see Otis's version of this, which has a little bit clearer of a Ryoshu, and then beside that, you can see one of the acquisition stills from it, which has a much clearer Ryoshu, and you can see Yisong's weapon. Also, you can see it better in Otis's image.
But it's fine, because we'll be able to see it well in his Uptie 3, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure. It'll be fine. Yisong has tits in this one.
He does. I was also about to say, it's funny that the Molar office buys their vests and ties from the same place as the Blade lineage.
Everyone buys them from the same place. Yisong has an allergy to wearing coats properly. This is a relatively uninteresting image. It's really just like a half body of Yisong. The more interesting part of it, much like Seven Association with Ryoshu, is blurred out background Otis.
This is my favorite genre of Yisong art. Is Yisong
this is my
being
wife.
sad with a hot
pointing
woman
at my
in the
wife,
background,
looking at my wife.
It is kind of coming together in my head, though, that maybe Yisong is Rain just because Rain wears a coat over his shoulders.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, we have a guy for that. So we won't be able to talk about Otis really on this podcast for a while. So I get to get this out of the way, which is that I think Molar Office Otis is the funniest thing ever.
Oh, no, 100%. Why did they make Otis the drunk woman?
Because she's, what's her name, Mika, right?
The Olga?
Olga, my bad. Right, obviously, Olga.
Mika is Ryoshu. We know this.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Because she's Olga. And Olga, one, is extremely drunk and licentious, sort of famously. And this is not her. But also,
so much so that she reappears in Limbus Company.
The game of drunken licentious people. Kind of.
If you
but
think
also,
about it.
Olga, has much bigger boobs than Otis.
Mm-hmm.
And this means that they always pose Olga Otis with her chest thrust. They do render her boobs as, like, Otis-sized boobs. Thing they're good at in this video game is having, like, women be the correct proportions every time. But they always
Consistent
render her
boob size.
in this, like, chest thrust out pose with, like, the overalls, like, a little bit off to the side to give the illusion that her boobs are bigger. And I think it's really funny, because they're not that big, but they're trying really hard to make them look as big as Olga's. And I think that this is very funny.
It is. That's because it is very funny.
That being said, this image doesn't have a lot to it, but I do think it's kind of very pretty. I think the way that the light falls on Yi Sang is very pretty. It has, like, a really fun compositional thing where, like, Yi Sang's weapon, like, you know, you look at Yi Sang's face, you move down to his arm, up his weapon, and that brings you to, I must just call her Fest, I can't remember names. That brings you to Otis. And then Otis does a similar thing. You know, you look over her, you get to her weapon, and then her weapon points up at Yi Sang, and it's this really weird kind of, like, seesaw composition. It's kind of nice, actually. I kind of really like this one. I think it's nice. It's sort of uninteresting. He's wearing an uninteresting outfit. Olga Otis is so much more interesting than him. Look at that belt. Such a good belt.
Know.
Look at those, like, hot, tight pants.
Well, the problem is you mostly
damn.
can't see his outfit.
Right. Because it's mostly... You can't even really see this jacket.
Mm-hmm.
You can see that he has it slung over his shoulders and that it's tan and big, and that's it. You are right that something about the perspective here does make it look like he has a massive chest.
Yeah. I mean, this is... Listen. They love consistent boob size for women? Yes. Consistent boob size for people who are not women? I say this because this includes Dante? No.
No.
Dante's famously inconsistent tits.
Dante's famously inconsistent tits. My favorite
It's a shame that this is a Yi Sang focused episode, or that would be a great episode title. Do you want to see the Upside 3? You get to see his weapon in this one.
I'm really excited to see his weapon. Oh, well...
What the fuck?
I don't know why they don't...
You can see the handle of it really well.
You can see the handle of it real well, except it is kind of blurred.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why they won't let us see the cool chainsaw sword. It's a cool chainsaw sword that has,
They
like,
won't let you see it. They're like, I don't want to draw that shit.
has
Except
cool,
that they
like,
do.
smokestocks.
They do draw it in Molar Office Fixer Otis Acquisition.jpg.
I'm gonna lose my fucking mind. I'm gonna, like, go World of Molar Office. Molar Office Otis. So frustrating. I don't know why. This image is, like, it's fine. This is, like, it's fine. He's blocking a shot. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
You can kind of
He
see
has to have his weapon raised. However, you can imagine a world in which he has his weapon horizontally, and it's just like a little bit more zoomed out. You can imagine a world in which this is just like a little bit more zoomed out. We can all imagine this together on account of you never get to see below his belt.
He doesn't have to be in this pose to be fighting. He could be doing, like, a low parry where you could see his weapon. Like, look at how much space is open in the bottom right of this composition. If he was, like, doing a low parry, then you could see the thing in a sort of fun, foreshortened way. But no, you can't, because they hate me, personally.
They hate you.
They hate my ass.
They hate your ass.
They hate my ass. God damn. Fucking, you can see the dimensions of his coat much better in this one. It is, like, flying everywhere, but you can work it out. And that's sort of fun. There's not that much to say about this one. He's lit orange.
He is. He still has pretty significant tit.
He does also still have pretty significant tit. That is one of my favorite things about inconsistent tit size in Limbus Company, is that like it's always consistent within a set of two images.
Mm-hmm.
It's sometimes it's inconsistent in general, but like Yisung should not have this broad and like pectoral of a chest, but at least he has it in both images.
He does have his, he has Ha Young again in this image, shoutouts. They love to find an excuse to put it in there. It's not as consistent of a thing as other people have, but he does have it. I hate that sorry, oh my god, I don't know what it is about this podcast that does this to me. I know my left from my right. Guys, I know. But I hate that the right of this image just, like, has a little bit of it cut out on account of there's somebody in there doing a fight. Like, you can see that they have a chin, and, like, that's, I guess, their torso. But it's, like, my wife the blur filter, and also, you know, just like, oh my god. His wife in this image is Ha Young, who is the most lovingly rendered thing here.
It is. Everything is kind of a mess except for Ha Young, which is just like looks really nice.
Good for him.
I'm trying to do this pose and figure out how like stable of a blocking pose this actually is, because it looks a little bit awkward.
I think he's gonna fall over.
Like, why is his left elbow raised so high? Instead of like really trying to do it. It's like this long, and then it's like, yeah, why is it at that angle? Yeah, look at the angle of his wrist. That is not a stable angle that you want to be blocking a large blow with. Why is his arm raised like this? I can't figure it out. It's kind of like an awkward image. Sometimes in this game, an image is just awkward. Sometimes they don't know how to make people fight in poses.
Which is weird, because it feels like they should know how to do that, right?
Yeah, they need to get the people who block out the posing for the battle sprites to pose, to like, you know, do like a pose sketch for you. Because like, again, look at how bent his wrist is. It's like almost at a 90-degree angle, and there's no reason to do that. If you just lower your elbow, then your wrist is in line with your forearm, and then you can like take the blow like on your forearm and not your wrist. But like with the Ivy being a nerd about swords, sorry. But with the wrist bent this way, you see what I'm saying? It's not even like, with the wrist bent this way and grabbing, it's pushing like out through his fingers, and then his wrist and his fingers are taking the brunt of this blow, which is stupid. And it freaks me out.
This is stupid.
Chat, this is stupid. Is it supposed to look like he's bracing the blow with his elbow? If that's the case, then he should have an overhand grip. I don't understand why it's like this.
He just had to grip it in some kind of way. And they didn't really think about the mechanics of it all.
No. You're telling me not everyone is not constantly thinking about the mechanics of how one grips one's sword?
I know, but unfortunately, it's true. Anyway, in his battle sprites, you can see this big old chainsaw sword.
You can.
It's huge.
It's huge.
It's
fun.
sick.
Yeah, it's got all these nice details, these like stripes. You can
see his pinstriped pants. Why won't they show us the whole guy?
I know! This is another thing about the Mueller office, is that they have, like, pinstrip. This is, like, part of their uniform. This is, like, their thing that makes their suit in particular stick out, is that they have some pinstrip stuff going on. But they just, like, we just don't get to see this ever. We just never get to look. We don't even get, like, you know, kind of like the Seven Association up-tie art, where it's like from an above angle, so you can see his pants a little bit. You just don't get to see.
You don't get to see.
You don't get to see. You get to see a little bit of his belt. Be happy.
Be happy.
Be happy.
The up-tie 3 art has nice colors, but that's really all it has going for it.
Yeah, I mean, I like this swoop of motion, this big fiery swoop. I think it looks nice for like an action line thing. Um, it's just like, Yisong mostly looks like Yisong. I do also think he looks a little weird. Just like his face looks a little weird.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
his posing overall here, it just freaks me out. So it's hard for me to look at him. I don't hate everything here, but it's an easy image for me to be picky about, specifically because I'm weird about swords. Sorry.
I don't know what you could possibly apologize for.
Yeah.
Why do you think we have you on the podcast?
Because I can edit.
Oh, right. My bad.
Yeah.
False alarm, guys.
People, if you're better than me and you can edit a podcast, let Ash know on Tumblr.
Yeah. Looking for applications.
Well, time for me to take a 5-minute break and ruminate on that.
I'll conduct
Go
some
under
research.
my quilt. Conduct some research. Alright, bye.
그대는 과거로 돌아가는 법을 알아낸 것이오. 아니면 미래를 물러가게 하는 법을 알아낸 것이오.
Ash, would you like to hear about my weird pie?
Yes.
Okay.
Thanks for the cold open material.
You're welcome. I've been meaning to tell you about my weird pie for a while, if you know what I mean. But I was at the store buying store objects.
Classic.
And they always have this weird seasonal rotation of shitty cheap desserts. And they had this thing that they call sugar crave pie. Oatmeal cookie crust with velvety rich and sticky sweet filling. And it has this like sort of the filling sticky and sweet, and it's just kind of like this thick kind of like, I guess it's just like what's in the ingredients, but it's just this thick yellow, like I assume it's just kind of like a blend of like sugar and cornstarch. Oh yeah, it's just like
I am not being sold on this.
It's sorry, no. It's sugar, butter, and egg, just kind of blended and then baked. And I'm pretty sure what this actually is an American sugar pie. This is what American sugar. Every time I've looked at a picture of American sugar pie and read what it's about, it looks like this. This is not a Canadian sugar pie. Canadian sugar pie is a different thing. But this is an American sugar pie. And they're selling it at Loblaws for some reason, as if it's a seasonal Christmas thing, in a rectangle. I don't know why. And so this is my weird rectangular dessert that doesn't usually exist in Canada.
Sure. Love that for you.
It's just a weird pie. It's very
It is a
thick.
weird pie.
Yeah.
It sort of upsets me.
I'll show it to you later, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
Okay.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. I did not expect that segment to be so upsetting to Ash, but such is life.
I have never had an American sugar pie.
They're different from Canadian sugar pies. Why? No idea.
I don't even know what a Canadian sugar pie would entail, but we don't have time to get into it now, because we're busy talking about W Corp L3 Cleanup Agent E Song. I prefer not to be disturbed during my morning commute. What is it?
He is sleepy.
He's at the dissociation station.
He's at the dissociation station. For some reason, I really like the W Corp images in which they're taking a normal train. There's something
Time
really
to go on
funny
my
about
normal train to work.
on my normal train to work at the fucked up train.
I gotta go to fucked up train factory.
Gotta go to the fucked up train factory. I
But
can't...
first, my normal commute.
My normal commute. This is a weird pull, but I kind of can't not look at this lighting and go, this image is kind of lit like an image from a rhythm gotcha game, you know? They love to do this kind of like soft blue and purple lighting over people. It's just like a lot of the lighting in Limbus Company art is very hard, and the lighting here is very soft. And it intrigues me, and it kind of looks like it's from Project Sekai. Maybe I'm just thinking of a specific image we covered over the summer, but...
You certainly are, but that's okay. Questions? I love this image, first of all. Let me be clear, before I get into things that I have questions about. Questions about this image. First of all, in what world is he backlit and casting this shadow on the glass? Like, I understand this is kind of real. It's not this real. This is a lot of shadow to be casting on this glass if you are being lit actively from behind you. Second of all, what the fuck is this thing in the top right corner of this image obscuring it? I don't even know what this is.
I also don't know. It's like they dropped a napkin on the image. Oops.
Oops.
It genuinely looks like something got in frame and they couldn't take a second photo. I have no idea. I have no answer for you. It like
he also has Ha Young in his arm, or is that fucking Ha Young? I'm right.
Yes, it is.
I forgot during the break. He has Ha Young in his arms.
Yeah, that's the wife.
His wife, yes.
Take your wife to work day.
Take your wife to work day. I think that the W Corp guys are the best. I love the aesthetic. I love the little warp hats. They sell these at Hem Hem Pang Pang, these warp hats. They always do, even though basically all of the other merch that they have is like on rotation. They always have these warp hats. Because everyone loves them. And I love the fact that, again, everyone just wears a suit and tie. And so not only do they have their, like, W Corp actual uniforms, they also have, W Corp patterned, button-ups, that you have to wear with your blue tie. It does make you wonder, if you see a Warp Corp employee on your normal train commute with you, you would be wondering, don't they give you free, like, don't they let you ride the trains?
I mean, the trains mostly operate over long distances, right? What I actually, all jokes aside, what I actually figure is happening here is that, like, within the district, I mean, the districts are huge. Within the, like, sub-district, moving from, like, neighborhood to, like, 2 neighborhoods over, you just take the bus, right?
I don't believe that the city has public transit like that, and so this image is unbelievable to me, but yes.
I could believe that specifically... specifically Nests totally could have, like, monorails or whatever. And specifically, W District, which would be District 23. Yeah. Specifically District 23, I could see having... Because District 23's whole thing and W Corp's whole thing is that they're, like, the most cyberpunk-ass motherfuckers. And just, like, having cool trains and shit of all kinds is, like, very cyberpunk.
In the Nest, absolutely. Yeah. I do think it's funny to reference District 23, famously the worst district to be from if you're from the back streets. This is the joke that runs through Library of Ruina, is like, I'm from District 23, sorry. This isn't a conversation Roland and Gebera have, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Gebera's from District 23, and this is bad.
It's like, oof.
Oof, yeah.
Oof. That's rough. The RB Bistro with and Pierre and Jack, I suppose, originally. From the Streets of Flavor. District 23.
The Streets of Flavor. I really like the W Corp logo also. Sort of random side note. It's this fun thing where it's like, it's arrows because it's warping, but it also looks like, stock market, like, you know, rises and falls, which is a very appropriate for W Corp for whatever reason. They love making W Corp this weird punching bag of, like, they talk a lot about W Corp's finances in
are they doing well?
Both Library of Ruina and Limbus Company. They talk constantly about how well the finances of W Corp are doing. I don't know. There's not that much to say about this image. But, like, I really like it. This soft lighting is nice. It's nice to just, like, have him next to normal people, weirdly. I keep looking at this woman on the right and being like, that's Faust, but I'm pretty sure that's not Faust. Pretty sure that's just like, a lady.
I like the fact that the people around him are looking at their phones, and he's busy staring off into the electric light.
Yep, absolutely. Other people around him are being so normal. She's got her fucking headphones. She's got her earbuds in. And he's just like, I'm so tired.
Normal woman has her hoodie on.
He's so tired in this one.
In
this one, they go so hard on, like, not just the scribbly bags, but also just this, like, kind of, like, half shadow over his face, and his eyes are, like, half lidded, and he looks like he's about to fall over. Like, bro.
Bro.
Up all night fighting with the bed bugs.
All of the W Corp employees are so miserable. Speaking of being so miserable, the Uptight 3 actually is, I think, a really good Uptight 3, and part of the reason is because, 1, interesting camera angle, 2, not judicious use of the blur filter and battle effects, and 3, his sick boots.
Yeah, he does have sick boots. The W Corp outfit in general is sick. Again,
it's pretty great. I
just
would
got their
wear the hell out of this.
I famously. Okay, let me talk about the image. I agree with you. The fact that they don't blur out these, like, rip space. Does he have rip space? Doesn't matter.
Rip dimension is what he has.
Whatever. The fact that they don't blur out these, like, dimensional fucking purple lines is really nice. It means they really stick out. It's smart of them to put his leg in front of one of them to place them in the space, but they look extra dimensional. They're popping out of the screen in a way that feels very appropriate and makes them feel, you know, like spaces, like rips in space. It works. The blade has this, which is a little bit too blurry, but has this cool, like, blue streak coming off of it. You know, his energy. The lighting, this sort of, like, soft lighting returns from the commuter train to the warp train, except, like, you know, now it's, like, falling over his back and his hat in this cool way. You can see very clearly from how these blood splatters are rendered, like, where the blood came from. Which
they're coming out of the dimensional rifts, because he cut into the dimensional rifts.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that the blood spatters are coming from this guy on his right. But, like, where he is now, that guy's sort of, like, behind him and a little bit, almost, like, in the image, he's too... Oh my god, I can't... Sorry. The blood splatters...
See, you can't just say where things are on the image we're looking at.
No. Well, the problem is I'm trying to use... The blood splatters are on our left side, the left side of Yi-Sang. But the source of the blood splatters is clearly from the right side of the image, which gives it this, like, very clear sense of movement. He doesn't need movement lines or anything, because these blood splatters tell the whole story of, like, you know, he was over there, that's how these blood splatters got here, now he's over here. He did a motion. It's really nice.
I love that he's in the pose from, I don't know if you can see... they don't have the like sprites for his various battle skills on this page, but he is in the sprite where he would be doing Dimensional Rift, where he does this sick pose at the end, and depending on whether or not he defeated the enemy, you can see his eyes or not.
Yeah, I am generally really curious because they do this a lot. I'm generally really curious what their art flow process is because I don't know. Maybe they probably don't have the same people doing the CVs and the battle sprites. Those are just like very different special. They might, but they're pretty different specialties. But like they tend to have sometimes they have a lot of this coordination and it's nice. And I kind of wonder how that happens. That must be kind of a complicated workflow, you know? Or maybe it's really simple and it's just like they draw the cool art and then they adapt the sprite, or they make this. I don't know. I don't know. I think a lot about game development. Curious how that works. My problem with this image is I think that my eternal qualm with this image is I think the Yi-Song just looks too cool.
I disagree with you. I think he deserves it. I understand. It's like, he's lame, he's sad, he's weird. But like I think this weaponized loner thing that he has going on in the W Corp shit, where he's like a weird guy who cleans the train, by which I mean, he's a salaried I don't even know if he's a salaried employee. He gets paid an hourly wage to, fight horrible monster freaks using his dimensional weaponry. But like this job sucks. It's like the cleanup crew look cool, but this job sucks. And how much he's like cool while doing it is kind of an identifier of how much of a freak he is.
Yeah. I get what you're saying. I feel like this image would read a little stronger to me if, like, it's like specifically his eye. I feel like if he had a little bit more of kind of like a gazing off into oblivion, dissociating look from the Up Taiwan, it would like read, kind of in a more compelling way to me.
I disagree.
That's fair.
I'm imagining this image and I just think it's like less fun.
Okay.
If he's like obviously, distracted or upset or whatever. I think he gets to have this one standout moment where he looks genuinely cool.
That's fair.
I just think he can be cool.
Okay. He can be cool. He's allowed.
Thank you.
Giving him a single shiny silver coin of coolness.
Putting it in his coffer-shaped box.
Dimensional.
I'm surprised that this was released so
box.
late. I always forget how late W Corp Yi-Song was released, because I think of him as part of the base W Corp set, but no.
Yeah,
he's a later... He's a latecomer.
It's released like a year ago.
Yeah.
This image is sick though. Like the movement lines, all the stuff with the blood, it just looks great. This fucking guy in the back has a torso full of eyes. What's up with him? Cool
Sick.
guy. He's dead now, except he won't be dead except he's not dead. It's complicated. You know how it is with the train.
Next guy. It's the Pequod First Mate Yi-Song.
Oh my god, he has a different expression.
He does! You may call me Yi-Song, I'm the first mate of the Pequod. In his Up Taiwan, he is smiling.
Yep. He's smiling and pointing. Look at this object.
My favorite detail from this image, the fact that what he's pointing at, zoom in, it's the seagull. Background seagull.
There it is.
Behold, and everyone is looking away from it. They don't want to see.
Blind to the truth.
Yi-Song
knows that you're playing Where's Waldo, and he's like, there he is.
Here he is.
There he is.
Yay! So, here's the thing. This identity in the story should have gone to Otis. I know sort of vaguely why they didn't give it to Otis. and it's because they have to do a balance of identities and give them to the right units, and also, Otis didn't have that many identities that were, genuinely reflective of her whole thing at this point. Mostly she just had, fucking Olga from the Molar office. But, and so I get it, and I get it. But Starbuck, who this identity is based on, doesn't go to Yisong. It goes to Otis. Starbuck is the first mate of the Pequod. Starbuck goes into Ahab's room in Moby Dick, the book, which you should all read. That's your homework before, 2 months from now. And is like, okay, this guy's insane, and I'm gonna kill him with a gun. And then he picks up the gun, and then Ahab looks him in the eyes before he can do it, and he puts down the gun, and then pretends like he didn't do anything. And it's like, yeah, okay. Yeah, alright. And also, during Kanto 5... Otis is doing the Starbuck thing. Ishmael assumes the role of captain and is like, men, fucking forward to your stations. And Otis is like, you heard her? A little suck up. And that's not Yisong. I don't know why Yisong is Starbuck. It's because they had to give Yisong an ID, and this makes me mad. And so he looks... It's very strange to see him being like, haha, yay!
He's very ripped, and he's very smiling, and he's very in the sunshine.
I do kind of like seeing happy Yisong. I have this image as my first mate. I have this image instead of the second image, which I think the second image is better, but this one does make me happier to look at. I like his stitched together shirt. I guess he's ripped, He tore off that sleeve. Goddamn. I like all these
stitching.
weirdly well-rendered people in the background.
Yeah, we never really sort of, talk about the crew of the Pequod overall that isn't just, the 5 guys that Ishmael knows.
Stub, Starbuck, Queequeg, Pip, Ahab. That's it.
That's it. Those are the 5 guys.
We don't even have Tash to go. Real Tash to go fans will know.
But yeah, there's just it's really funny that these aren't cameos. Why not make them cameos? Instead,
you could
they're
have
just
put Queequeg in this image.
You just put. Just do the thing that you do where you put all the guys that, don't have an idea of this set in the background here. And then you can be like, they're all there. But instead, it's just these 3 random guys. It's a guy with
very
glasses.
Sweaty.
It's, sweaty, buzz cut, redhead. And then it's cool emo
cool girl.
Purple hair. And it's yep, that's the crew of the Pequod.
That's the crew of the Pequod. Happy for them.
And they're they're really freaking out about this seagull. I don't know what their problem is.
There is an angle where I understand why Yisong gets Starbuck, and it's because he's Kanto 5 is, he's the only one who has had his big, Kanto change of heart at this point, where he's I'm a nice guy now. I'm nice, and I pay attention to my friends. And so it's this manifests a little bit in this Starbuck ID, which he gets right after having his, I'm very attentive to people's emotional needs arc. But also it's come on, man.
Yeah. It's it feels like a bit of a weird pick overall. I think this image is fun.
It is.
It's kind of just it's difficult to look at it as an image of Yisong, but just as an image, I like it.
It's you can see him quite clearly. The things in the foreground don't disrupt too much. You get 2 seagulls. I think this lens flare is cute. And I think the extremely I am being attentive to people's needs. Look at this bright blue sky and the beautiful clear lake. No problems ever on the Pequod. I think how hard it goes on that angle is cute and works.
Yeah. It's cute.
No problems ever on the Pequod.
Famously? Thing about the Pequod? No problems ever.
Uptie 3.
Uptie 3. Uh-oh. It's
Uh-oh.
problems.
Oh no! Oh no!
On the P quad?
Problems on the B quad. I love that. I really do think that Uptight 3 is the better image in this case, and I love the way that these two go between each other, because they're flipped. He's in profile both times, but this time he is looking to the right, and the previous time he was looking to the left. His arm is out again in this way, but it's, it's his other arm, and you can see his harpoon is too tall for the frame in both times, but you can, see the same amount of it. You can see the same amount of him. You can see roughly the same view of the deck with the, railing behind him. And then he's got things in the same areas of the image in the foreground. It's just that the background is now, this black and cyan that we understand is, Moby Dick time. We can see a little bit of the mermaid in the background, like right under his hand.
Yeah.
You can see that big eye, which I think is very cute. And then, I genuinely just think that this is a good transition.
Moby Dick time, Moby Dick time, Moby Dick time, Moby Dick time. Sorry.
Water and water and water,
water. I generally like this image a lot more than I like the other Pequod Uptight 3s, which I think so in this Pequod story they're fighting like this big kraken, and the Captain Ishmael and also another one, but I don't remember which one.
Heathcliff?
Yeah, are those the only three?
Yeah.
I think also in the Heathcliff, but definitely in the Ishmael one. She is like, there's just like a bunch of fucking tentacles all over the screen, and they're a little bit too distracting for my eyes.
There's some in the Heathcliff Queequeg image, but not in the foreground.
Okay, I looked at the Ishmael one, and it's not as bad as I remember. But like, regardless, I like this one a lot. This kind of like sense of foreboding of just having the eye in the background is really, really nice. The like image does a really good job of like, it's in the background, but the image does a really good job of making sure that you see it and understand that it's weird, despite how many layers of stuff is over top of it. It's like behind the railing and behind the rain and behind the harpoon. But it's like a bunch of this lighting is guiding you in that direction. His eye line is guiding you in that direction. The harpoon is guiding you in that direction. This lightning off to the right is guiding you in that direction. And so it's making sure that you see this and feel ominous about it, without making it too obvious. So it makes you feel clever and scared. It's nice.
It's the Captain Ishmael of Taiwan that has the tentacles in the foreground. But it's like, I think generally the progression between all of the Pequod images is really good. Like, you go from Yisong to Heathcliff to Ishmael. I think this is also the order that it's in the World of U-Corp identity stories. If you go to the World of U-Corp, like, fucking... well, I mean, there's also the Middle and the Twin Hook Pirates in there, but whatever. But you go from Yisong, who has the super bright sky, like, pleasant, nice time, and then you go to Heathcliff, who is, like, not actively facing dangers, but is, like, cutting himself with knives in his room, like Heathcliff. And then you go to Ishmael, whose Uptai one is, extremely foreboding and tentacleful. And so you have this sort of gradual progression from, like, everything is cool to, oh no.
Yeah,
and then all of them have the same color scheme and theme for their Uptight 3, which makes them really synergize well, and, like, both Yisong and Heathcliff have this real, like, sense of grief and, like despair, and then Ishmael's Uptie 3 is like, you know, driving them forward, and you can actually see them in combat behind her.
Yeah.
And I think this as a whole, as a set, is so good.
Yeah, it's the descent into madness. We're doing like kind of normal shit. I mean, like, you know, Yi-sang looks sad in this image. But like the implication is that, like, you know, there's a foreboding thing in the background, but he's relatively victorious. There's not dead bodies everywhere. Well, there's dead bodies of mermaids all around him. But it's very, very ominous. It looks like he's had a hard battle and he's won and he's chilling, but like,
and now he looks like Yi-sang.
And now he looks like Yi-sang, but in the background, it's like, oh no, what's coming? Spooky. He also looks significantly thinner in this than in the first one.
Yeah, no, absolutely. He looks like Yi-sang.
He looks like Yi-sang. He looks like Yi-sang, but with big arms. His torso is appropriately skinny, but he still has the big arms. Big arm Yi-sang.
Big arm Yi-sang. The most important thing's looking at his sprites, because you really don't get to see that much of his outfit in the main images, is, first of all, he has this harpoon that is way too tall. And second of all, he still has his knife holster on his hip. But he doesn't have Ha Young. He doesn't have the book, just the knife holster, which I think is fun and cute in a very, like, you know, stripping you of your identity Pequod way.
He has these fun,
also,
like, big
his high-waisted
galoshes.
pants.
Yeah, he's these big, I mean, you know, he's working on a whaling ship. He's got galoshes, he's got big, sort of waterproof, high-waisted pants. It's a
with
fun
the
look.
Suspenders.
Yeah.
He's cute. He's very cute.
He's cute.
I wish you could see more of him, but I understand why not.
Yeah. In the first image, his wife is the seagull. In the second his wife is the harpoon.
No, in the second image, his wife is the mermaid. Wrong answer.
Fuck. I lost.
You lost. Are you ready for Diechi Association South Section 4 Yi-sang?
Oh, you mean the one that has Dante in the background?
Yeah, the one that has Dante in the background.
The one that has Dante in the background. So Dante's in
I
the
am
background
Yi-sang.
of this one.
Please remain silent as you find yourself at the Temple of Knowledge.
Is this the one that, like... Oh, yeah. This is the one that has an Uptie story that has a bunch of the Wings references for no reason.
Oh, yeah!
I don't know why but it's like written like the Wings, and it has a bunch of... Have you ever experienced fatigue so extreme that each step feels as though you're wading through a quagmire? Yet, in that exhaustion, my mind is cleared like the reflective surface of a freshly minted coin. I grow rather joyous on
I imagine the human
such...
anatomy in equivalence to an architecture.
This is just like... After a long contemplation of such designs... I don't know why they did this, but I think it's funny.
It doesn't even have Carmen narrator. He's narrating it himself. Good for him.
Oh, that's why yeah. It's not like, you know, the child did this. He's like, I'm here writing the Wings.
It's
and
me,
like,
Yi-sang, writing the Wings.
Yi-sang. I'm gonna briefly explain Dieche woman Dante theory.
Yes, go ahead.
Me and our lovely friend Tristan. I was talking about our Roja episode
Tristan
with
listen
him.
to this podcast?
No. So we can say whatever we want. I was talking about the Roja episode with Tristan, and I was talking about Diechi Roja because it's an amazing image. And I was talking about this woman and how she appears in both things and, like, what her deal is. And Tristan floated the theory that the woman is Dante. This woman that appears in the background of the Diechi art to bully Roja specifically is Dante. Why? Because the Diechi Association is Italian and is number 10, and Dante's number 10. And she's important, and so she's Dante. And that's why she's in this art, because background Diechi woman, she's Dante.
Hi, Dante.
Hi, Dante.
It's Dante's episode, actually. So that episode title I floated earlier, we can use it.
In this one, Dante is bullying Roja once more. You can see that Roja has snacks, and Dante is pulling away the book she was using to cover the snacks. A fun little kind of continuation of the Dietri Roja art. Is very cute. Also, Yisang is here.
Isang is also here. He's in the classic Dietri Catholic uniform. He's got the habit around his shoulders, and the, necklace that marks him as a fist instead of a key. Ha Young is beside him on his desk, and then he also has a little, I think his pencil case is very cute. He's just got two little pencils.
He's got a little middle schooler ass pencil case. It's little fabric zip pencil case. It's very cute.
Here's my Yisang headcanon, is that both of these pencils have barely any eraser, and I think he eats them.
Yeah, he's chewing.
He's chewing, my feeling. I think they should put Yisang in glasses more. I think they should put everyone in glasses more, let me be clear. There's not enough characters on this bus who wear glasses, and the fact that they can put some of them in glasses just, for fun occasionally is, haunting to me. Please put them all in glasses. They're cute. But he's got these cute, square-rimmed glasses. They really don't change his silhouette too much. He really is just, looks
cute.
like normal Yisang. He's just cute. I would believe that he wore these, regularly to read with.
I do like how this shirt sits on him. It's very loose and baggy in a fun way. The fabric rendering in this, whoever does this Dietri images is really good. The fabric rendering in this is really good. The lighting is really good. I love this infinitely sized library.
It goes on forever.
This Utena ass, infinitely...
You can really see, pulling back the curtain, you can see that some of these shelves are clearly repeated.
Yes.
the fourth shelf from the left is the same as the fourth shelf from the right.
Yeah, I think they just grab it. There's a set of maybe 4 or 5, and then they just grab it and repeat it. Yeah, I think it's 4. It's it's 4, and then it's repeated. It's fine.
I mean, why would you do any more?
Yeah, honestly,
you really don't need to.
You get away with 3, honestly. But this is this scene is very lively in a fun way. This image is a really sort of I can't think of the right word, but it's less about Yisang than it is about all of these little mini scenes, these two people chatting over the left. Yeah, it just gives a really good sense of space and culture. There's 2 people chatting. There's another guy studying silently. There's this guy in this ladder, and then we have the Roja and Dante scene. It's just has a really good chill vibe. There's something here about how not tired and also kind of at peace Yisang looks. He's very
he's got his eye bags, but he doesn't seem he's just sort of studying.
He seems like he's having a good time, and this kind of makes sense to me because he's not training to be a warrior or anything. He's just reading a book. He's just doing his research. He seems
genuinely pretty interested in what he's doing, given nobody is supervising him, and he's doing it without looking too terribly bored.
Yeah, his posing is really strong and really, he's really kind of contemplatively clutching this pencil. I really like the positioning of his fingers on the book. He's clearly with his index finger here, he's clearly has it over a line. He's doing the thing where he's moving his finger along the book. This is conveyed really well. There's so many cute little details, the little colored sort of notes sticking out of his papers, the different books, a pencil case, all these little different mini scenes in the background. I just think really
the rim
nice.
lighting is really good on his right side and also on the blade of his dagger. Just phenomenal.
I think
looks very Arc Knightsy. This the right side of him with this super golden glow.
Yeah, and it the way that it interacts with how they've drawn these fabric folds makes it look like stained glass. He becomes stained glass when the light hits him. Really gorgeous. it's a very pleasant image. This is this is not like my favorite image ever or anything, but I could kind of look at this for like 20 minutes and be perfectly satisfied. Much like him looking at his book. I look at this image and I feel like him. I'm like, interesting. And this is good synergy to me.
Another really good progression between the uptie 1 and uptie 3 here, I think, in a, like, not super obvious way, is the way that the uptie 1 is so zoomed out and, like, atmospheric and, like, not even really about Yi Song. He's just kind of there. And then the uptie 3, he is right in your face. There's nothing in this image except for Yi Song and his fist coming at you. And I genuinely really like this. Like, this is an extremely classic Limbus Company. They've got the action lines around the fist that are about to make an impact, and you've got this super bright light that's coming from it that's, like, kind of obscuring parts of the rest of the image. The background is so blurred that you really can't tell what's going on. There's, like, some kind of gateway in the back and some people vaguely underneath his habit here. But
There's
it's
the
like,
guy going, ugh.
But, like, mostly it's just him and his fists and, like, the gleam of this necklace, and that's all that you're supposed to get from this image. And I genuinely think this is a really cool, like, 1 to 3, like, transition, flipping between these. Is like, oh, I'm just reading in the library. Hacha! I'm here! I'm gonna get you.
Woo. Yeah, totally. And the action lines in this are really nice. The way that this, like, necklace is rendered beautifully.
Oh,
like,
yeah, 100%.
You can look at every single link of this chain necklace and understand what every single link is doing as an individual physics object and how it's interacting with every other link. Kind of insane, honestly. His habit forms this nice, like, flowing action line up to his face. It's nice. He also, like, it has, like, a really good sense of, like, he's good at his fucking job. He's hitting very hard. But he's also, like, he looks so much more tired and, like, unfocused in this one. And it's clear that reading the book is, like, his environment. But he'll do what he has to do. Which is fun to me.
I think, the one thing about this image is that it instinctively makes sense the first time you look at it, but you cannot look at his posing and proportions too hard, or else you'll be like, why does he look like fucking Kingpin?
Oh no.
So, like, stop looking at that and switch back to the other one for a bit.
Yeah. Take a breather.
And then go back and be like, oh, great, now he looks normal again. But, it's foreshortening. It just looks like this. It's, I don't blame it for being kind of weird. I think it makes a strong enough impact in and of itself that I really don't mind any, flaws it has technically.
I do keep getting distracted by this guy in the background going, This is just because I look at image too much. This is my problem. But he is, like, kind of bright red in a way that is, like, little cherry tomato guy going, Next.
It's time for everyone's favorite guy. The ring pointillist student Yi Song. Will you kindle the inspiration within me anew? If not, then I can't say that I'm terribly interested.
Flirting with Dante.
Again, this is a very flirty identity, and also, he is an emo boy.
Sorry, that thing stuck in my lips.
No, your lips.
My lips. The teardrop is a lot for me personally.
It's so much.
He does look so extremely much like a Pokemon antagonist. Not even a significant one, just like a guy you'd meet along the road. Who has that one Pokemon with the painting tail. art-themed Pokemon guy.
Art-themed Pokemon guy.
He's so emo. I find it very distracting.
It is distracting. I do think the composition of this image overall is quite good. I think the fact that he has this wing painting behind him is nice and clever.
Very cheeky. I
like the fact that what he's actually in front of is this like painting of a building in these, T-Corp drab colors. And then what is, extremely emo about him is way in the back, the picture of the League of Nine where everybody has had their faces painted over and replaced with smiley and frowny faces.
Uh-huh.
Except for Young G.
Yi-song, but he's the Joker.
Mm-hmm. Joker-fied.
Yeah.
He is extremely Joker-fied. I think he's cute. People love him because he's got his little emo face tattoo. And this little ponytail in the back, which, honestly, the little ponytail, yeah. And people also love his, skin-tight shirt and his pecs.
The skin tight shirt with the baggy sleeves just kind of go insane.
It does.
When you buy this object.
This outfit, I would wear. I would cosplay him. I think it would be really enriching.
I think this would be a good look on you.
People are freaks about this guy. And so, I can't look at him
me.
normally and assess him normally, because I've just seen so much fan art of him.
I have qualms with the ring pointillist student IDs, which is that generally... it's fine. But generally, I think the paint splatters that they do on them kind of look like shit, and I find very distracting. I don't like how they look on him, and I don't like how they look on Otis. I don't understand why anything is the way it is. Why are the paint splatters only on this apron? Did he change shirts, but not change the apron? Why are the paint splatters not on the belt? Did he put the belt on after he painted? Question mark? What is going on? Why is it like this? Who knows?
Who did this?
It's just they're just very kind of prefabby looking sort of paint splatters that don't necessarily make sense in any particular way.
No, absolutely not. As someone who has painted and gotten paint all over my clothes, with relative frequency in my life, you don't even need to have this experience to understand that paint would not go on your clothes this way.
Yeah, I mean, again, there was a period in my life where I painted a painting literally every single day for 6 months. And it's just I got paint all over my shit, but it just does not look like this. And it's also typing. Sorry, I'm looking something up.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
What kind of paint do they paint with pointillism? I assume it's oil, right?
I mean, yeah, mostly.
Yeah. Also, this doesn't look like oil paint. It's again, it's
no, these
weird...
are acrylics.
Yeah, it's just weird.
I mean, he's a student. He's using acrylics.
Sure. Yeah, it's not.
he's a student in a shitty, it's some shit if you're using acrylics as a student. They should get you better materials, but.
I don't know. There's there are plenty of parts of this image. Genuinely, I like these little paintbrushes crossing the foreground. They're not too distracting, but they're fun. They're clearly a clear object that makes sense to be in the space. There's this weird big bubbling cauldron of paint. What's up with that?
It's his blood.
Because
he's a freak.
Yeah.
I mean, not his blood, but the blood that he owns.
Yeah. The blood that's been assigned to him by the school.
Yeah.
But there are elements of this outfit that are too distracting, and then they explode me. And It's fine.
He has Young with him. Important
does.
to note.
Yeah. Chilling. He paints and then he puts on his belt with Young, but without taking off but you're gonna get paint on it. Never mind.
In his uptie 3, I just sort of don't like, and like, this is not just me, but it is kind of a personal preference thing. If a guy looks too deranged, I just am not a fan. I just kind of can't handle, like, full level, yandere shit. In the Limbus Company art. I just don't think it's a good look. I don't think, like, this person has completely gone insane in this mirror world is, like, a fun, cute look. And so, like, this Yi-song, I don't own him, even though he's, like, the most meta unit that's ever existed. Just because I kind of don't like him and don't think he's hot. Which is also, I own every Otis. Genuinely true. Because I love her. But I don't really give a shit about Pointillist Otis. I just don't think she's that hot. I think she's too busy painting with fingernails to be hot. And this is upsetting to me. Anyway, in this one he has paint all over himself, but still no paint on his shirt, which is perfectly clean. Also, I don't know what this signet ring he's wearing is, but he has a little signet ring on.
Oh, that's on account of his marriage.
Oh yeah, he's married to painting.
The wife in this one, the concept of painting.
He's also, like, this is a little thing. I think what he's doing, or supposed to be doing in this, is that he has, like, you're underneath a glass. He has, like, a glass with a bunch of, red blood, ink, oil, whatever on it. And then he's smearing his paintbrush on it to get rid of small dots, which is, like, not a painting process. This is closest to, like, a monotype printing process, is you would have a plate and then you smear ink away in order to get the image that you want, which is cool. However, not the brief.
It is notable that neither he nor Otis are ever doing pointillism, and
no.
Nothing about their tools or their moves or the names of their moves, except that they have the word pointillism in them, ever have anything to do with pointillism. This bothers me because, like, in theory, in, like, 2 cantos from where we are, like, right now chronologically, we're gonna get to see a lot of ring stuff, and I'm excited, hypothetically, to see, like, the ring cubists and so on and so forth, the ring modernists. That's exciting to me. But, like, this is not a first good showing, because they're like, these are the pointillists, and what do they mean by this? They're like, it's a joke about how they stab you, and I'm like,
painters. They use pierce damage.
Yeah, like,
I guess Otis has a skill called dotting.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
And then one of her passives is multitude of dots. But this is absolutely true of Yi-song, who just has nothing going for him.
Yeah,
And a lot of their attacks are like, they're not stabbing you with the brush, they're actively swinging the brush, and it's like, dude.
Dude, point. I also think that this, like, there are elements of this that I like. I really like how his hand is drawn. Like, specific. Maybe the only part of this image that I really like is how his hand is drawn. I think the blood on it looks really nice. The way he's smearing blood on his chest is fun. This, like, posing is cute and extremely faggy. Fag emo pointer Yi-song. My favorite new ID. But, like, this hand position is fun and makes him look very artsy-fartsy, aka gay. But, like, I do... And so I like his hand. That's mostly it. I do also feel like this kind of like fails as an uptie 3 in a way. Listen, I just like fucking swords and weapons, and also like the world of this world is a world in which like the weapons, people have cool weapons that do cool shit. And like, why can you only see the tip of his brush and the back? Like, come on, let it show. What why
You can see
Why
it in his
do
battle
this?
sprites, and it is pretty cool.
It is pretty cool.
The handle is really like neat, and then it's got this like
it's
nice
got this like
stiff
twisting little It is, on this note, apropos nothing, it is kind of insane to me that we haven't seen the Trace Association at all.
I know.
We haven't seen any of, like, the guys that make the cool weapons? Question mark? I don't know.
I do think Ring Sang's battle sprites are like, someone had so much fun making this guy, and I respect that. Like, you know, they truly put a lot of love into him. By which I mean made him look like as much of a fag as possible. I think his evade sprite is especially like, let me hold this pencil up at you. Like, what are you doing? The fuck is he on?
The battle sprites in general just, like, look way better. In the battle sprites, it's, like, much clearer, like, that the vest that he's wearing is actually a smock. You can never see enough of him to tell that it's a smock, and because it's like has this weird fancy thing, like this weird fancy buttoning at the top, it just looks like a fancy fucking dress vest. But it's not. It's a smock.
He also has paint on his belt in the
he has paint on the belt, like these
images, or not
these
the
paint
images, the battle sprites.
the battle sprites. These paint splotches make a little bit more sense to me.
Ish, yeah.
Yeah, ish. At least, like, you know, at chibi scale, these are sort of like, it makes a little bit more sense to me. He just like looks significantly better in the battle sprites, sort of all together. And I just like, I don't know. They love to do this, and it's fine, I guess. But it's like, they love to have like a 1920 by a 1080 pixels of space, and then only use like 600 by 600, and then just cover the rest of the image in various kinds of goop. In this one, it's blood.
In this one, it's blood.
And there's a little circle, and that's where the image is, and then the rest of it is goop. It's like, okay.
I do think, like, I enjoy that in his battle sprites. I didn't really notice this, because it's not like, I wasn't frustrated by how little of him you could see actively in the uptie images, but I do appreciate that in the battle sprites you can actually see that these cunty little, like, flared sleeves are, like, 3/4 sleeves that end after the elbow. Like,
yeah. Okay, here's the thing that makes the paint splotches on the on the battle sprites make more sense to me. Is that, like, if you look at the uptie 1 again, the paint splotches, it's not like the dimensions of the paint splotches or anything. It's that the paint splotches on the uptie 1 go to, like, not the lining, what's the edge of a piece of clothing called?
The hem?
The hem of his sleeves, but then don't continue onto the shirt somehow, thus reinforcing my weird he changed his shirt but not his smock theory. But, like, on the battle sprite, this doesn't really happen. Like, it clearly, like, would only be hitting the smock and the belt, and it hits the smock and the belt, and there's not this, like, weird overlap onto the shirt that doesn't exist. It makes more sense. It doesn't really make sense that he would be fighting this way with this much paint and not get paint on his shirt, but, like, it reads better to the eye.
Yep.
It's fine.
It's Ring Song. People love him.
Sure.
Have different opinions on him, regrettably, just because my proclivities. And then final Yi-song identity.
Yay!
Yay! It's time for lobotomy, ego, solemn lament, ye song. Well, do I understand your sentiment on death? Why not lay rest to the impulses in your heart for a moment and converse with me more? Or not? It's not, well, do I understand? It's, well, do I understand?
This one is the most wife image of them all. I looked at this one the first time ever and was like, that's his wife. His wife is, shit, what's this called? Funeral of Dead Butterflies.
There you go.
They're the partition that divides their room in two.
The containment unit.
The containment unit. So Yi-sung has like a whole thing about butterflies. Not only is like, you know, the butterfly in the sea about him, by his best friend, but also he has a bunch of poems about butterflies. There's a particular poem, I think it's in Crow's Eye View. I read it today.
Yeah, poem number 10 of Crow's Eye View, Butterfly. I see a dying butterfly on the torn wallpaper, a secret hole for connecting with the hereafter. I see the dying butterfly again, this time on the mirror's mustache. Its wings are drooping, and it eats the dewdrops of my breath. If I die while I close this secret hole with my hands, the butterfly will rise again as if from a brief rest, then fly away. Words like these must never slip out, no matter what.
I am sort of curious if, like, they have such a dedicated Yi-sung nerd on the team that, like, Funeral of Dead Butterfly, to some extent, is related to this.
Maybe. Honestly? Maybe.
I do suspect that, like, this is where the, there's an aberration event of Funeral of Dead Butterflies that you can get in the Mirror Dungeon, in which, like, it's Funeral of Dead Butterflies, but the butterfly is, like, made of torn paper. And is like about suicide. It's like not about sort of death in general. It's about specifically suicide, which is what this poem is about. And I wonder if that guy is specifically like, you know. Anyway,
it's funeral of the dying butterfly. Funeral of a dying butterfly is the aberration here. It gives you curriculum vitae. And it is based on the Korean guraso, or overworked salaryman.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, he's with his wife. He's on this image sparked a whole conversation because he's on the Netsack team, and I think this is very funny. This sparked a whole conversation between us about, like, what would it be like if Netsack and Yi-sung had a conversation? And I think our conclusion was that it would be awful.
It would be so bad.
They're so sad, and they're pretentious
not actually
about
on the
art.
same wavelength, really.
No, absolutely not.
Netsuck is not this kind of, like, poetic, you know, sort of, like... He's not a poetic depressed alcoholic. He's just, like, you know, a normal depressed, you know, alcoholic.
Yeah, but he
addict.
thinks he's poetic.
And so, like, Yi-sung is, like, you know, in this absinthe... such beauty and the revulsion of the... And Netsack is like, I miss Carmen.
Netsack's like, yeah, dude. The thing is that, like, the thing that would make it awful is that it wouldn't be awkward, even though it should be. Like, they should
They're both, like, way too spaced out in their own heads to actually register that they're not talking to each other.
Yeah, they should be on completely different wavelengths and unable to talk to each other. But they're just not talking to other people generally in general. And so they can just, like, hang out and drink and kind of talk at the wall, pretending they're talking at each other. This would be awful. I would ask to be moved to departments.
People Yi-sung could hang out with, Yi-sod. Netsack, the thing is that Netsack and Roland get along. And, like, that should be your hint that Netsack wouldn't get along with Yi-sung.
Uh-huh. I think Yi-sung could get along with Kesed. I think they could hit it off.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
But we're not there. Instead, worst timeline. He's with Netsack.
Instead, we're in the worst timeline.
So there's a really... Okay, so this is like... I really like, you know, they love Lobotomy Corporation. This is a really lovingly rendered Lobotomy Corporation thing. There's a bunch of... Like, his suit looks really nice here.
Yeah.
He's like very, very focused. It's fun that he's doing repression work, which is the kind of work that you need to do for Funeral of Dead Butterflies. Nice touches.
I've drawn these containment unit backgrounds 100 times, just because I reuse them for stuff a lot. And like, yep, it's the containment unit backgrounds. They're fun to draw. I love that they have the little icon for the type of work that he's doing. I think I have a qualm with this image, and it's really that, like, I understand, the Walpurgis things. We literally had this argument last episode. Like, I understand they are just sort of frustrating here because it means that they tilt this image slightly. They tilt the window so you can see more of it instead of having it all covered up by these things. And it's like, if you are making that kind of concession, just put less shit in your foreground.
See, the funny thing about you mentioning that we had this argument last time is last time I was mad at this and you were like, it's fine.
I was like fine with it.
And now, but I'm with you. I think like the fact that they give him slight diagonalitis here is kind of infuriating.
It's so frustrating.
I really like how much of Funeral of Dead Butterflies you can see. I kind of wish you could see the like third arm more.
Yeah.
It does just kind of, you can't, if you know to look for the third white arm coming out the middle, you can see that it's a discrete object. And he's dressed very snappily. The suit fits him very well. But like, you can't see it. And like, that's for people who have not played Lobotomy Corporation, which is many people on account of its Lobotomy Corporation.
At least do a deep dive on the wiki. Homework.
Yeah. Like, being able to see that extra arm would, like, add so much, like, this is what this guy is like. Instead, it makes it look like his deal is just that he has a butterfly head, which is like, no. He has 5 arms. That's,
Yeah.
He has a whole look.
The thing. He has a whole look.
Fun.
There's some really good textures on this image. Like, the textures of these little tubes.
The metal texturing. Yeah, these little fish scale tubes go insane. Again, I think the textures of their suit look really nice. The way they like catch the way they catch the light specifically like a velvet crushed suit, which I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be. Like, the way that like there's a really high contrast between dark and shiny parts of the suit, like on crushed velvet.
Yeah.
And then, but you can also see that the vest, which is not crushed velvet, is shaded differently from that. It looks really nice. I like the very small detail. A lot of these Lobotomy Corporation guys have little ego gifts from other abnormalities, and he doesn't. And he
does
about
not.
This.
He only has the coffin.
He only has the coffin, and I assume that part of this is because Funeral of Dead Butterflies is one of those abnormalities that requires you to have a specialized guy. This is not how I deal with Funeral of Dead Butterflies. How I deal with Funeral of Dead Butterflies is I have my specialized guy for Funeral of Dead Butterflies does not have specialized stats. He just has a really good weapon so that when he breaks out, he can immediately kill him.
Yusong is like an I only hang out with Funeral of Dead Butterflies.
Yeah, he's a special baby. He's your special baby you have
boy.
Just for Funeral of Dead Butterflies. And this is and of course he would be. He's Yisong. I had a run of Lobotomy Corporation where I had Funeral of Dead Butterflies next to the crying fetus, and the crying fetus would go you were here for this.
I watched this. I just forgot about it.
Yeah, the crying fetus would just go off all the time because I would shoot all my clerks and wasn't willing to sacrifice anyone. And so there was this just horrible crying, and I had to have a person stationed outside of Funbutt at all times to kill him because... Anyway, it was a fun time. I had to while Ash was watching me do that run, I had to keep the camera away from the crying baby because
So
Ash found it so distressing.
It so much. The noise is unbearable.
If you haven't played Lobotomy Corporation, you're missing out.
You're
genuinely
you're missing out. You're missing out
man.
really a lot. Uptide 3, Solemn Lament.
This is a qualms image for me.
I don't mind it that much, honestly. I understand the qualms, which is that the left side of this image is incomprehensible and has, like, faded completely into oblivion. However, you can see the weapons really well, which is important.
No, this is my qualm. I disagree. I think you cannot see the weapons really well.
No, but the gun that's, pointed up.
Okay, first of all, I'm mad because I'm looking at this piece. No. Wait, sorry. I'm mad because toggle between these two pieces of art and look at how much smaller the Walpurgis border is on this
I know.
one.
I was literally just thinking about this.
They could have made it smaller.
They could have made it smaller. They just didn't.
Less fucked up. Here's the thing. I really like this guy and I really like his stuff. He has iconic, cool guns. But part of the thing is that the guns are different and they do different kinds of damage and they have a different design to them. And, like, you can see the white gun nice and clearly, but you cannot see the black gun clearly. In general, I understand that he's fighting Violet Noon, but these tentacles in the foreground, like, look like shit. I don't like them. They look bad. They look goofy. I mean, it's Violet Noon, but they look bad. And, like, the fact that the left gun is so blurred out and so covered by this tentacle and shit, it is IMO, like, a huge problem, because then you don't get the appeal of the weapon. Like, you can reasonably look at this and not realize that this gun is black while the other gun is white, and just, like, attribute the differences between them to shading. And that to me is, like, a huge problem. And also, like, he's doing this cool John Wick pose, which, like, is cool, and you just, like, don't get to see, like, it doesn't resolve because the tentacle fucking comes and blocks it over, and it makes me really mad. And also, like, this coffin would make a really nice kind of line, and they have a tentacle there too, and I'm like, it's just like, I hate looking at. I like several parts of this image. I like how sad he looks. I like how he's, like, falling backward. Like, he's doing a cool sort of, like, guns akimbo kind of leap backwards, but it looks more like he's sort of falling or stumbling. He like does not look especially coordinated. His stuff is flying everywhere. There's butterflies everywhere. Like, the butterflies are really nicely placed to, like, highlight things without blocking them, even the foreground butterflies. But then it's got these fucking tentacles, and it's like, we've replaced the awful, like, two big Walpurgis borders with these tentacles, and it makes me mad. I just want to see the guns. The guns are cool. You don't see one gun, and even then it has, like, a thing on it, and I'm like, come on.
I slightly disagree on not being able to see the difference between the guns, but I accept that this is really, like, colored by the fact that I already know that the guns are two different colors because I played Lobotomy Corporation. I think it's clear enough, but I understand what you're saying, and the tentacles do take up way too much fucking screen space. They are, I think that they do a little bit better of a job of framing the image than you're giving them credit for, but they are too big and too in front of things. I picked up my way of saying "too" from you, and it frustrates me daily. Little bits of this image that I do enjoy. I like that he has blood splatters that are, like, right beside his forehead, so it does look like he's about to shoot himself in the head. Fun, cute, adorable. I like the way that his coat flares out. I like the fabric folds on this waistcoat that look like it's really pinched in at the top. Really nice.
Song with tits? Hang on.
I know!
It does
keeps
kind
happening.
of I mean, I will say I fucking love the lighting in this. This, like,
100%.
the way that the purple light transitions into this, like, because we're in Hod dimension right now. The way the purple light transitions into this, like, soft yellow light that also, like, again, he's shooting himself in the head and he has a halo over his head. He's this, like, halo of yellow light cutting through the purple over him. It looks great.
I love that you can, like, clearly, even though this light almost should make his hair look gray, and it does, but, like, it's black, and it's Hisang. And the way that it specifically doesn't light any of his face is just, like, phenomenal. He does look so sad. And he's, like, right under the light in the hallway, and it's like, I I'm equally as frustrated with the way that the hallway bends space around him as I am kind of enjoying it. Like, it does kind of look like, the hallway is like, extends out, where this, circle of gunfire should be like one portal of the side of the hallway, and then it like bends downwards and then back up at the right, and then you have more corridor behind him that's like more, so it's like he's at a corner of a fucking racetrack. The hallway bends, and it's like, that's weird. But it also looks kind of sick, so I think they could stand to have a few less battle effects on the left side of this image, and those tentacles need to be smaller, and they should stop putting shit in the foreground for no reason. This is a cool image.
Just meet me halfway. Imagine, okay, it's this image, except we move this left tentacle, like, to the layer below the gun.
Yeah, that's
then
fine.
The tentacles, the tentacles are still sort of framing him in this nice kind of diamond shape. But he's sort of breaking out of that frame with his gun, which is cool. And we can see the gun, and we can see whatever cool bullet shit it's firing. And I just I don't know. I don't know why it bothers me so much, but it does. I just like weapons. Every time you can't see a weapon, I'm like, why would you do this? Don't be stupid.
Fortunately, you can see everything perfectly well in his battle sprites, which they have animations for as well. I do think his battle sprite is a little bit less fun than the main sprite for once, just because it's all black and white, but you don't get the white piping on the battle sprites, and that's frustrating.
Yeah,
you should see the white piping. That is how Solemn Lament is supposed to look.
Yeah, that is weird. It makes it look like a different thing. I also generally think that I would need to see him in action, which I haven't seen in a minute. But I think that his posing here is really kind of unclear. The fact that he's just very this pose has a terrible, terrible silhouette. And it's really important for this pose to have a good silhouette, because he's basically a silhouette. He's all black, and his silhouette is very hard to read at a glance and very closed in. And just, give him a little bit more of a thing. I kind of like the fact that the guard spread... I know that... I'm actually not sure. You probably can never see it in Lobotomy Corporation, so I don't know why they made this choice, but I think they should have just put the Fun Butt Butterfly on the back of the guard sprite. Just to have it there. You can't see it too well. It's just the thing is that I really like this guy, and I really like these arts, and I really like Fun Butt and Solemn Lament. But there's all of these little things, and maybe that's why there's all of these little things that really just kind of let me see more. Just not even and again, I like the way that Funbud is occluded in the first image. I like a lot of things about the second image, but I'm just let me see just just have a little bit less shit, please.
If you really want to be mad, and I don't encourage this, but you can look at, they have on this page just the background of this uptie art, which has 2 different guys, and doesn't look like it's in a location at all. And then you look at the main art, and you're like, oh my god, they put so much shit on top of this that it looks like a totally different picture.
Oh, wait, what? What? Are these guys actually there?
Yes.
Oh my god, they are!
I'm doing a between, and it is literally, this is what the background is, no changes.
That's fucked.
And, some of this looks bad just because it's, you draw this knowing that it's gonna be behind other shit, and so you don't need to, this black splotch in the middle is just, behind Yi-Sung. But it's, other parts of this are visible in the fucking image, and it's why are we here?
Oh my god.
This entire main part of this dude who's getting half of his head chopped off is covered by coffin, and so there's completely no context at all for what's happening in that part of the image.
I mean, the thing is that, I could, until looking, this is like a magic trick.
I know.
Until looking in the background, I did not see that there were other dudes here.
Me neither.
I just thought that they were like hallway wall color that had blood splatter on them. What the fuck? Oh, yeah, weird. It's just like a whole different image under the image.
It's
How did
miserable.
they even get
Don't look
this?
at it for too long.
I guess they pulled this out of the files, like under the animated version. But like, weird.
Fucking
Freaks
weird.
me out. That being said, this like extra still that they made of him just at the thing with the butterfly on his shoulder, cute. I like it.
Cute. Confirmed cute.
Confirmed cute.
Ego time.
Ego time. Oh boy. Great.
I have my 1 and 2. Would you like
okay.
to go first?
Do you wanna say our ones at the same time?
Oh, okay.
All right.
3,
2,
2, 1. Dimension
sun
shredder.
shower.
Perfect.
Okay, let's say our twos at the same time. 3,
3, 2, 1. Sun
dimension
shower.
shower.
I love it here. Perfect.
We're perfect is the thing.
We're perfect.
So, do you want to
E-song.
start with sun shower or with dimension shredder?
Let's start with sun shower. Let's start with yours.
Okay. So the thing is that like, ego arts have a very particular style to them, and like, they're generally fine. This is one of the few ego arts where I'm just like, this is just a really nice painting. Like I would just have this on my wall. First of all, it is kind of the kind of painting that I feel like I would buy at Walmart. But like that's just because it's a kind of like an aesthetically nice painting. It looks like a card from Mysterium.
Oh, it absolutely does.
It's just nice. The fox is his wife.
Is his wife.
My big wife.
My big wife hiding her face in her tail.
Honestly, just switching to corrosion and just looking at the fox. This fox with the umbrellas, that's a Mysterium card.
No, yeah, 100%.
But he's just like, the colors in this one go insane. This like sort of soft yellowy orange with the teal and the like acid raindrops coming down. It's just like, that are like bright teal is like,
yeah, the bright
so...
raindrops are really my favorite part about this image.
Yeah, and the fact that like his little kind of like the little princess white coat, the kind of like dirties down into the brown of the fox. His fucking, I think his ears look very stupid, but
they're stupid. Yeah,
I think his tail looks great. The way it like pushes up the coat, the way it kind of like, you know, there's this sort of, it has this symmetry of like, you know, the fox's tail on the left and his tail on the right. It's just like kind of a great looking image. I just like looking at it. It's very, very pretty.
I enjoy that he has an ego for all you do is go out to get sick and bother me.
I had not even thought about this. Yeah. This is the
No, he
ego where
goes out
gets
and then
sick
it's
in the
raining
rain.
and he's miserable.
I worry that seeping rain may leak through the umbrella.
And then your wife will get mad.
My wife and go mad.
This was the poster art for season 2, which it's obviously very pretty. The thing that matters about Sun Shower is not this beautiful painting. It is the gallery of sprites, so you can see Fox Furry Yi Song at the corrosion. Look at him.
Yeah.
Behold him. Look at him, behold him. His ears turn black so that they can blend in with his hair better, which is very funny. But, like, I think that Limbus Company should do furries, all the time. Just do this more. He runs on 4 paws. And he's stabbed in 4 places.
He's cute.
He's so cute. He's covered in goop and blood and fur, and he's cute.
Mm-hmm.
He's got an umbrella in his mouth.
Uh-huh. Cute.
So cute.
I'm going back to the image briefly. This is just a really nice image. I like the broken symmetry in it. Again, there's symmetry between the tails. There's symmetry. There's this line of symmetry down these buildings. Like, he's sort of breaking it a little bit. The umbrellas break it a little bit, but sort of follow it. It just looks nice. I just really like looking at this. I just really like this color scheme. I just like it. I enjoy it. It's enjoyable.
The rhythm of it is peak. The colors are fantastic.
Mm-hmm. So fun to follow this image and just like bounce between the left and the right side along that line of symmetry. Great image. Shoutouts.
Great image.
Shoutouts to image. Honestly.
Shoutouts to image.
Do we ever say this on this podcast? Just shout out to image.
If you haven't been looking at image lately, I highly recommend it.
Give image a shout out.
I'd give image a shot if it were me. Dimension Shredder?
Yeah. Now this one is about Yi Sang's The Wings and his wife.
Yes.
He's about to get bitten randomly all over.
He's about to get bitten randomly and all over. So I really like the Dimension Shredder ego, because it has this weird framing. First of all, this, like, I think the diagonal works here. It's like a Dutch angle, it messes with you. And even this, like, foreground, like, crumbling at the bottom, great. It just makes it look like it is in a different frame than normal ego. Wonderful. I love body horror. Every time they do warp trains, they do unrepentant, gross, grisly body horror, and it gives me an excuse to write more of that, which I appreciate immensely. And so these, like, rib cages and creeping flesh on the ground, underrated, phenomenal. Yi Sang himself, I think that, like, his face is the least good part of this image. He's, like, he's not even really a man. He's just sort of, like, that's just a head. It's just a stock image of a head. But he has his imitation wing that is burst out from his shoulder, which is all fleshy.
And then, mimicking the guy's, like, weird upper arms.
And then, like, I just, like, the way that this image is painted is so, these little spots of red on the legs that then come up to these spots of blue behind the coat, and then, like, the purple light which suffuses everything, and the way that, like, more so than in most other ego arts, like, this is what we liked with Cavernous Wailing Sinclair, is that there's a real interaction between the abnormality and, like, the image. Like, they're coming out of the same rift. The way that it ripples, my wife the smudge tool is there. And then, like, they're paralleling each other with, like, sort of, Yi Sang, it could be interpreted as, like, a disciple of this abnormality or running from this abnormality. He's got the imitation fleshy wing, but then also his, like, coat cape thing looks like wings spreading out behind him. He's in this awesome dynamic pose, even though it's totally horizontal with the screen. And then just, like, I think this is a really good view of Wayward Passenger's fucked up mouth thing. I think, like, it's one of the least obscured abnormality images that's, like, not covered up by the guy. And it's just, like, it's great. I love the way Dimension Shredder looks, and also it has a reference to Crow's Eye View poem number 1.
It also, like, it does a really good job of capturing, like, one of my favorite little visual elements. First of all, weird, tiny little detail. I love that, oh my god, Wayward Passenger's right blade is, like, specifically casting this, like, beam of light on the back of Yi Sang's head in this very intimidating way. That's where it's going. It's going to stab him. It's going to get him. But it really, like, it captures the Wayward Passenger thing where you're like, oh, his arms. Oh, wait, those aren't his arms. Where, like, you look at this at a glance and you're like, he's doing the YMCA. He's lifting his arms above his head.
Fuck this guy.
Fuck this. While Ash was recovering from surgery and couldn't lift their arms above their head, I would send him pictures of Wayward Passenger all the time, just to taunt,
Just to make me mad.
just to make them mad. But like, you look at those and you're like, arms above his heads, and then you look at the shoulders and you're like, no arms. What are those? Freaky. Good. I really like toggling between the normal art and the corrosion art because it's a W Corp logo jump scare.
Yeah, really.
It doesn't make the abnormality more clear, which is what this often does. Instead, it's just like, there's the logo.
And the corrosion quote for Dimension Shredder is, as a matter of fact, the alley is an open one, which is a reference to Crow's Eye View poem number 1, which has the lines, for the road, a blocked alley is appropriate, and then the line at the very end, for the road, an opened one is appropriate.
And then it has, I think, 13 lines of the child is scared.
No, it's the first child says it is scary, the second child says it is scary, the third child says it is scary,
the fourth child says it is scary, the fifth child says it is scary, the sixth child says it is scary, the seventh, no, never, I fucked it up. Anyway.
You fucked it up.
It keeps going for 13 children. This is the plot of Limbus Company.
And then you can look at his corrosion sprites, and he turns into a fucked up mouth.
He turns into a zipper.
He turns into a zipper. I love this thing. It's like evil universe head crab.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is just a beast.
Yeah, it does like kind of a bad job of looking like Yi-Sung, but that's fine.
I don't care.
He's just like a big zipper. Fun. The honorary mention, of course, is Fell Bullet, which we're not going to talk about, but you do need to see that it has the Darkest Dungeon circle around his head. My honorary mention was Bygone Days, which...
Bygone Days also good.
I just think he looks cute.
The lighting in it is nice.
He's got a little ascot. He looks cute.
Mm-hmm.
That's not an ascot. That's the other thing that I keep getting confused about with an ascot. Then people yell at me. Have fun doing that.
Have fun doing that.
Well, that's Yi-Sung.
That's Yi-Sung. What a guy.
Numbers?
Numbers for Yi-Sung. Cuteness on Yi-Sung
is a fascinating question.
It is. Because, like, being a pathetic little wet beast is kind of cute.
I think that he's cute. I think that people think he's cute, generally.
I think many people think he's cute because he eats sprouting potatoes, and when they are taken from him, he goes, "Nideo."
Yeah, he's just kind of like a little, he's just kind of like a little weird little guy.
He's very weird.
I feel like Dante treats him like he's cute, which is very funny. He's always
accurate.
Like, okay, Yi-Sung, that's fine.
Whatever
it's okay.
you need.
Whatever you need. Do you want to eat some
I meant
food?
to talk about this at the beginning, but there's no better Yi-Sung than there's no comparable experience to playing the first 2 cantos of Limbus Company and experiencing true, unfiltered, inexplicable Yi-Sung. Like, why the fuck is he like that? People keep commenting during the first 2 cantos about was he this talkative earlier? And what the fuck is he on about? And it's like, what the fuck is he on about? He and Ryoshi's weirdo chemistry moment? It's like, he's perfect. These are very cute behaviors.
I think he's cute. I would put him at a 4.
A 4 seems reasonable. He's more than incidentally not cute on account of Yi-Sung.
Yeah.
But he's also cute because he's Yi-Sung. I don't think he's equally cute and not cute. I think he's a little more cute than he is not cute.
Correct. I would say that this is correct.
He has some Kathy DNA.
Uh-huh. Appealing.
Yi-Sung appeal. Now, less.
Low.
Low.
Part of his whole thing is kind of how unappealing he is. Again, I'm kind of freaked out whenever they make him too appealing. Which is maybe a me problem, but, like, his whole thing is that you have no idea what the fuck he's talking about, and then also he just does weird shit. And he can't talk. Yi-sung cannot go to parties. He's not allowed on the other side of the partition.
I'm really torn between a 0 and a 1.
Uh-huh.
I can't decide if a 0 is, like... Because he...
Uh-huh.
I mean, he's not more than incidentally appealing.
No.
But does he have enough incidental appeal to constitute a 1?
I just kind of like again, him existing in sort of his own world / being pulled into our world. I just don't think anyone finds him appealing or wants to be around him. I'm really, really racking my brain. The argument for him being a 1 appealing is that, like, if you bring him around, if you show him off to your friends, then he might occasionally ramble a kind of droll little statement.
He's amusing.
He's amusing.
But I think that falls under cute.
Object. But yeah, that's a lot of his cute is the thing. And it's just like, he's dirty. He's sad.
And he only goes out to get sick and bother you.
Yeah, he's amusing, but he's also kind of boring.
And then he's inconvenient. He keeps eating things that make him ill.
Uh-huh.
Or going on boats, which makes him ill.
Uh-huh. There are images where he's appealing, like Spice Bush or W Corp. But, like, as an overall package, I
think he might be a 0.
I would be happy with 0. I feel like Yi-sung, the guy, would be happy with a 0.
Yeah. I think if anybody is gonna get an appeal 0, shouldn't it be Yi-sung?
I will say, just for the sake of having this out here, I think in retrospect, we did Gregor a little too dirty. We got a little too focused on, like, he's a bug and this makes him awful to be around, and sort of forgot about him a little bit. I think
his sort of middle-aged Jewish man swag.
I think Yi-sung is so much more of a 0 appealing than Gregor.
Yeah.
Gregor has appeal. People like things about Gregor. I don't know if this is true of Yi-sung.
He's around.
He's around.
He happens to be there sometimes
Ash,
when other things are happening.
You ready for me to say my controversial opinion? People who are listening, last episode of season 2, I was like, I'm gonna have controversial opinions about Sinclair, and everyone go fight Ash about it, on my behalf. Ash is my duelist proxy. And then nobody did. People were mostly like, Ivy, your opinions about Sinclair are good and correct. And I was like, fuck. So it's time to have a controversial opinion that people might actually fight me about. And by me, I mean Ash is my proxy. Are you ready? Are you ready?
I'm ready.
I think that Faust Sang is not real.
No, it's not.
You've heard this opinion before.
You can fight me about this. And I will defend Ivy with my sword.
Thank you. Ash would defend me no matter what, but it's nice to have the enthusiasm behind the blade.
I would be obligated to defend you no matter what.
But like at the end of Warp Train, there's a moment where Yi-sung is talking to Faust and is like, "Oh, I liked when you were cute, Faust. It would be nice to see her more often." And so many people were like, OMG, he's so in love with Faust. This is not true. This is not what that moment was about. That moment was because he's Yi-sung from Yi-sung's The Wings by Yi-sung. And he has, his whole thing is about, like, breaking away from being in your little hole that you put yourself in and, having your wings and being free. And this is what it's about. And also, he has weird, complicated feelings about mirror tech. And this is what it is. That's what he was like, it was nice to see you spread your wings and be yourself, Faust. And it's not that it's not that he saw cute Faust and was like, ha-cha-cha. That's what that moment was about. Faust sang is not real.
No. The thing is, they would be the most dysfunctional couple of all time. This has been my take since day one, is that Faust and Yi Song are too similar. They're not really similar below the surface, but at least on the surface, they're, both very, within their own shell kind of people. And I think this would make them awful, to date each other.
This is also, it sort of doesn't strike me as Yi-sung's type. Yi-sung seems to find a lot of appeal in people who are very outgoing, in contrast to himself, so he can be, Yi-sung's The Wings, and, just kind of crouch in a corner while they go off and live a life, and he's like, I love my wife.
I love my wife.
And he just, Faust sang is not real. You can enjoy Faust sang. I'm not kink-shaming your Faust sang. I just don't think it's canonically real, and thus I will at most barely take it into account in this Kinsey scale analysis.
Which is proceeding now.
So
2.
Fascinating answer. Why?
Well, Yi Song has a lot of queer themes in his writing. And sort of his wives are a man and himself. And also the concept of mirrors. However, I think Yi Song as an individual is too deeply tied to being in a heterosexual marriage with your wife. To be anything more than a 2. He's more than incidentally homosexual. However, he was in a straight relationship with Gubo from The Life of Gubo the Writer. And that relationship also was more than incidentally homosexual, but it was straight.
This is a fascinating take. 'Cause, I was ready to come in here with the numbers and be like, the numbers are Gubo, Sangyi, Dongrang, and then on the other side of the field is Dongbik. And that's pretty much it.
And then in the middle of the field is Dante.
And then in the middle of the field is Dante, who I guess has sort of an overall neutral effect, question mark.
But I think Yi Song has to be... Listen, take this... Think about genders like Don Quixote. Yi Song has to be married to somebody of a different gender than him.
Right.
In the, knight and squire are genders way. Who has a different role in the world.
I
feel pretty strongly about this.
You know what, Ash? It's your birthday. You can have this one.
Yay!
It's not
402. No, don't say that. I want people to congratulate me on Tumblr.
It's Ash's birthday. Say happy birthday on Tumblr. Or in the YouTube comments section.
Yeah. Or both.
Or both. Why not? It helps our numbers. Not these numbers.
Which are
402. Which are 402. I'm happy with this.
I'm happy with this. He pleases me.
He does. He's an amusing object.
He's so amusing. Turning him over in my hands like a little cube.
Just kind of like poking and prodding at him, and he just sort of doesn't react, and this is funny.
Mm-hmm.
React, dumbass.
React, dumbass.
Oh, boy. Well,
This is gonna be our longest episode so far.
somehow it ended up being really long, even though we did not...
No, our frenzy meter didn't go very high.
Our frenzy meter didn't go very high. I guess we did spend half an hour just talking about Korean literature.
That was the problem.
I kept trying to segue us into talking about the game, but no, we kept talking about... And then you would say something interesting, and I was like, oh yeah, blah, 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 blah. And then no. Uh-huh.
We're gonna have to start splitting these into parts, I feel. By the time we get to Ishmael.
We'll talk about it next year. Oh, dear.
Yeah.
Will this fuck up our whole schedule? Oh, dear.
Let's fuck up our whole schedule.
Let's just fuck up our whole schedule that I spent so much time working on. It's fine.
Reaching out my hand to you. Let's fuck up our whole schedule together.
Yay!
Yay!
Ash, there's no one I would rather fuck up our whole schedule with, question mark.
Who else would you?
I have other people in my life I have schedules with. God damn. I think we're in a monogamous schedule marriage.
I guess not.
Do we have to have a talk?
But it was our schedule that you would be fucking up.
I guess
who
that's
else
fair.
would you fuck up our schedule? Frankie?
Anyway, this is...
Pandora?
You know. This is the part of the show where I say, hey, thanks for listening this far. If you've listened this far, hey, we don't, like, have any promotions or ads or anything. We have, like, a shitty little social media that's mostly for fun. So if, like, you had a good time listening to us, let people know. We're doing, you know, we do Limbus Company stuff sometimes. We can't do it that often because...
We'll run out
too fast. But if we're splitting episodes in two, we might be doing more of it, question mark? I guess we'll talk about it. But we do it, and we have generally on the podcast, we talk about art, and it's fun. If you enjoyed this, maybe check out some of our other stuff, but also just, like, let people know. Fucking tell your friends. We have nice little YouTube links now, which are much easier to share than, like, Libsyn links to our, like, default Libsyn page, because we don't have a high enough Libsyn subscription to get a custom website. We'll get there eventually. But
if you would like to help us get there, you can always, go to Ivy Fox Art on Ko-Fi.
Yeah, you can donate to help us with hosting costs, but mostly I just want people to know that we're talking about Limbus Company and video game art and having a good time. So maybe help us out. I don't know. Someone should post shit in the Project Moon Discord just to see what'll happen.
Yeah, I'm not in any Project Moon Discords because I don't want to be, but...
Go post about us. Go post this episode on the Limbus Company Reddit. See what happens.
Yeah, please. It would actually be very nice.
I mean, it would help us out. It helps us out very little because we just see a little number go up, and this is pleasant.
It just sort of makes us happy.
Also, it helps people who would enjoy this and enjoy hearing people talk about Limbus Company and video game art in, like, a, detailed but fun way.
Thanks to all the people who have been engaging with me on the Tumblr who listen to our show regularly, and I don't know you. I mean, I know you because we only have a couple of people who engage with me on the Tumblr, and so I'm, like, pretty familiar with all of you. But it's really cool whenever I see that people have, like, earnestly gotten into our show, all of the parts of it, including, Mahjong Soul, and, even our little summer mini-series. And it's like, that's cool.
Yeah.
Y'all are cool.
Y'all are cool. And I just want... It would be cool if there were more of you. So let people know. I don't know. Anyway, this is my little pitch. The very, very first teaser of this, soon it's our anniversary, and we're doing a bunch of fun stuff with that, and we're doing a bunch of fun stuff next year, including Limbus Company stuff, but including stuff that is beyond your comprehension. So stick around. Let people know, etc., etc. I'm just happy to have you here, genuinely.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to us talk for 3.5 hours about Yi Song. From Yi Song's The Wings.
Almost a year of talking for 3.5 hours about Yi Song's The Wings.
And honestly, Ash, I wouldn't have it any other way. Fly,
Aww.
broken wings, like, the wings from Yesong's the wings.
The wings that
Yesong
Yesong
has in Yesong's the wings.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Like at the end of the song, like he says it.
Yeah, like how she says goodbye and how he says goodbye in Yesong's the wings, which is what that goodbye is from. It's a reference to Yesong's the wings, the fact that she
And
says
also it's
goodbye.
Goodbye.
이 또한 영원하지는 않을 것이오. 그렇기에 나는 담담하오.